Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is day 4 of the Oceanic Resurrection Tournament, and we have some great games tonight. We've got wonderful games tonight by my fellow caster, Viela. Viela, how are you going?
Hi there, hello. I am going really well. I'm really excited for the 3 games that we're going to be talking.
I'm very excited. Very excited. We've got a interesting structure today, and we've got some games that will be the eliminations for for 2 teams specifically. But I'll let you take it away. Get the things out of the way that we need to get out of the way.
Well, obviously, we got to talk about what's really important here, the prizing, guys. As you guys know, we are sponsored by Logitech. That's super exciting. We've got 2 major prizes. As you know, we've got the mice for the mice for the winners of the entire tournament, and of course the keyboard for the winner of the. It is the red special edition mice that we've got at the moment. So it's the pro level precision, the most advanced sensor in gaming, experience and reliability, tracking over 888 plus IPS, ADG, and up to 44,000 DPI. That's a lot of DPI. We've also got some light force switches. We can get the reliability of the optical switches with the low pipe consumption and satisfying click of the field connection mechanical micro switch. The Pro X Super Light SE is an iconic 60G pro gaming mouse designed with the world's top players and engineered to win. Super exciting mouse. I wish I actually had one of my own. What do you guys think about that?
I think those are some pretty good prizes, if you ask me. I'm very keen for that.
Yeah, I think I actually spoke to a few people that own one of these mice, and like, it is super exciting. I wish I had one of my own. And I'm just like, well, I've actually got one in my hand at the moment. I've actually got 4 more as well for the winners. So if you guys are wondering why I keep going to back, I've actually got the boxes just sitting behind me here. But all the iPods and even like the code. Look at this, you've got G. Gen G, guys.
All those big teams. Those are big names.
Those
are very big names.
I'm only holding 2 because I've only got 2 hands, but if I can grab some more, there's more of them coming out. So these will be shipped out to the winners once it has been decided. But for now, we've got the what's going on tonight. Who will we got playing?
We've got a really nice lineup, but let's go through the normal prize pool here. $2,416. And we've gone up by $5 due to generous donations. Any donations will continue to be added onto the map way up until the grand finale. And we've got some good matches today, though. We've got some very good matches today, which we can take a look at right now. Take a look at these matches, Viela. What are you thinking?
We've got They Harbor Rapiers Like the Sword versus Fat Pizza up first. Kaga Esports versus Brian Beckett at Game 2, and Holy Crusaders versus one of my favorite teams, Hello Fan Club. How many personal favorites tonight, Hello?
Well, I mean, I personally am very excited to see Kaga. I mean, Kaga and Holy Crusaders. I've got so many friends in every team, but those 2 teams, I just the peak for me. And it's really the stakes here that's so important. Is 2 of these teams, Kaga Esports, Variety Bucket, Holy Crusaders, HKF, 2 of them are going to be out of the tournament completely. Whoever loses tonight, this is the losers brackets, and this is the most important game for these teams. That's the stakes that we're dealing with here. We will be saying goodnight, but what about you? What team are you rooting for in particular?
Well, honestly, I do have a soft spot for the Holy Crusaders, purely because like when we would practice in my cast together, that's the main team that we ended up managing to watch time and time again. And of course, they harbor rapiers as well, like the sword, because I just love saying their team names. But a lot of big names are going to be seen tonight as well. What about champions? I want to run through champions that we've seen consistently too.
Yeah. Listen, I think in terms of players and champions, we have seen throughout the tournament just the mid lane dominance. Mid lane has played such a strong role. I'd say mid lane and jungle have been the two key players in pretty much every single one of these games. And that, of course, has been a factor of that's where most of the team captains are. But we did see a really good performance, Pradith. We saw Styled as well. So I'm mainly looking in this mid lane. I really am looking in this mid lane. But of course, top lane, and of course, the most important of all, I'm looking ADC specifically for that team Karga. I've heard Samios is he's gonna turn up a storm. He was training that whole team Karga. I mean, they're the ones to watch out for because their final game is on the line tonight.
Oh, 100% agree with you on that one as well. I do remember seeing a Sammy OC being an absolute pest on the Sivir the other night. You recall, Hello?
Yes. I saw. I got a bit of host bias. Taking a look at, and they were discussing the Yunara. They were discussing the Tristana, and I think in terms of that game, it will revolve around the ADC. Now, not so much for BHR, and not so much for Variety Bucket. I don't think. Now, Variety Bucket, I'm really looking forward to that game. I think the jungle matchup is going to be the king. And who decides how that game goes, we will see in both the rivers, both the jungles. But I want to ask, do you think we'll get an upset? Because I've actually got predictions on how these games are going to go.
You've got predictions already. You've set them up.
I've got a little bit of predictions. I've got my thoughts. I won't share them. I'm an unbiased referee. I'm an unbiased judge. But I have predictions, and I want to see if they come to fruition, because we've had games so far throughout this tournament. The games so far have been so strange. They've either been dead close, really, really nail-biting close, or just a complete swamp. We had that 23 game. I mean, frankly, absurd. Before Baron spawned, a 23-minute game. That's crazy in my eyes. That's absurd. You never see that.
Yeah, I know, but I guess I think that's all like OC really is. Like, I feel like this tournament is definitely highlighting how different it actually is for us over on the Rift. I'm pretty sure we've all experienced our own types of games where things go wrong or things go really, really well, and we're definitely seeing that in the tournament as well. Just because we're playing in a more professional setting doesn't necessarily mean that the players are completely different from the players at EC on the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I played with some big names today. I had a couple solo queue games. I had a little bit of extra time, and I saw some names today, which I'll see tonight, interestingly enough. A bit of lore as well. Just a fun little bit of lore that we picked up. Team Brattles. On Team Holy Crusaders, Brattles actually has an OPL legacy poster. It's 9 years old, right? And that was signed by none other than his lane opponent, Tallywacker, which is very interesting. You've got the sort of the long-term goals. They finally meet each other. Met 9 years ago, sign in the poster, and now they meet on the Rift, and we will be able to see how they compare tonight. Which we're going to take a look at the match lineup right now. Look at these names. Look at these names. Oh my god, I'm very see these names. Look at this. Sejin Sailofu. Now, Sailofu, I'm very prepared for. I'm very prepared to watch, to witness, and bear witness. But we cannot ignore Pizza bot lane. Pradith and Shenki have already performed so well. Of course, Pradith was performing with Viper there, on the Milio, on the Lucian. But that game was that game was a complete ADC class. And I think we're going to get a bit of a repeat here. What do you think about the side of BHR?
BHR, Bayhavariki is like the sword. Oh, well, team captain all the way off in the top lane. Hello, I know you love your top laners, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be a little biased from the top laner that we've got today. I think we've experienced some of your responsibles, champion pool as well, time and time again. But as you were saying earlier, it is mainly to do with the jungler and mid lane for other games, but this time around we're actually going to be looking in the bot lane too. So it's just a matter of Polemus and Akilin actually being able to step up to the plate with Pradith and Shinky. We've heard so much about them throughout the games and throughout the tournament in general, and I really want to see a lot of spice. So I hope you're able to handle that. Hello.
We definitely will be getting spice. I think you raise a really good point. In terms of the spice that we will be getting, I think what's going to happen is hoping that BHR has discussed with their team and understand that the unstoppable force force that is Praedyth and Shinky. They just need to hold on. They just need to survive and let Nox do what he does best. He is King Nox. Numbre uno jungle os. And if he can do what he does best, get a big old lead, get in every lane, have that impact that he is known for, the game is going to be very close. But I really do think Nox, I mean, now listen, as we might call a bit of an interesting name on the other side of Fat Pizza's jungle there.
Which name are you talking about?
Mr. Stroking It, one word, we'll just call him Stroke for short.
Stroke.
That jungle matchup where you have the team captain Nox versus this non-team captain, it's going to just be interesting to see if Nox sort of steamrolls and takes over as we get into draft 1 here.
I'm actually excited to see the picks overall. I think we've seen a lot of consistent picks throughout the series so far. Throughout the tournament so far. We've seen lots of Mels in the mid lane and a lot of like what do you call them again? Snowball type champion. Because as soon as you get ahead, we're actually going straight through into it. We've seen a lot of tanky bruises over in the top lane as well. We've seen a lot of ambassadors being chosen. I think Ornn is also being seen too. So not so much of the full type carries in the top lane. So we're going really safe in terms of actually being able to choose the overall team comp. It's exciting here. I see a Fiora has actually been banned. That feels personal.
Yes, so that actually is Rapier's OTP. Rapier, like the sword in the top lane, is a Fiora one trick. So with that taken away, we're having to hope that he has a pool of other champions that he can play, as it does seem to be a bit of a jungle focus with the Ambessa and the Vi being banned.
100%. And when you're participating in a tournament like this, as an OTP, you're going to be aware that that's going to be banned out. Like, it would be silly to not ban out an OTP champion. That being said, however, I'm quite certain Rapier's considered all types of different champions that you mentioned earlier. So, have we actually done a little bit of research on, like, what they've been doing on the Rift, or no?
Well, that's the thing. It's up to these teams how they've been studying, if they've been looking at the OPGGs, if they've been practicing, and if they've been working around situations that will occur. We saw that in Team Poltron Kitten's Laughing Man. His Urgot, he's an Urgot one trick. His Urgot was banned, but he has that deep pool, and he performed really well. He had that Yorick backup that he brought in, a man after my own heart, as we get a Nico lock in. And what we've seen throughout this tournament is so many flex picks. We've seen the Pantheon be flexed to the jungle. We've seen, of course, the Ambessa. And Nico is a really interesting one where that could be a Nico mid lane, it could be a Nico support, but it actually also could be a Nico jungle as well.
I'm honestly surprised that they're not deciding to focus on to prioritize the carry. We were talking about how much pressure Shinky and Praedyth had in the bot lane in general, so I'm surprised that they're not trying to take away a strong ADC. Whereas on the side of Fat Pizza, that's exactly what they've done straight off the go. They've locked in, I know it can be incredibly strong as soon as she gets her items.
I think the game plan for BHR has been decided already. With these jungle bans, I think they know their win con, the Nox win con, as I am certain that is a Pantheon Nox, a very big force to be reckoned with. So I think what they're doing is they're understanding we need to get Nox ahead. We need to allow Nox to get his evil talons in. And to do that, let's just make sure that this jungler doesn't have any comfort picks, doesn't have anything, and just allow the steamroller to steamroll. Let's ignore the bot lane. Let's just hope Polymos and Aquilin can hold on, because that's what they need to do against Praedyth and Chinky. Because if Nox gets ahead, you're in for a rough time. You really are. You get a Dax ban on the team of Fat Pizza here.
100%, and that's why I feel like Nika would be an excellent pick for them as well, being able to prioritize that. Nika can, if you guys did tune well, sorry, how much Carrie was able to get a lot of pressure around the map, being able to clone multiple things all over the map as well, and being able to fight them out and get all those game-winning plays. So this focus on Nox as the jungler with Panther with so much mobility as well, we want to be able to see them to get that focus around those objectives, and we want to be able to get that vision. Vision is so important. Time and time again, we have seen how much pressure is or isn't with the lack of vision and with the lack of ideas of what the other team is doing. So we really want to be able to see the types of carling that we're going to be seeing for Stroke and for Nox, and how they're going to be able to play this game.
Yeah, and in terms of what the other teams are thinking and doing, we can see with that Oriana ban from BHR, they want to take that out of the equation, the classic J4 Oriana combo. And with that gone, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they mid lane to go against Sejin. Sejin, a very well-performing player, as Sejin is on his classic Syndra pick, not banned away.
No, but actually, I do like the Syndra pick, especially for something against like you. Of course, Fighter of the week out there, making able to get that free ultimate on the incredibly strong AD carry, like we've spoken about a few times already. So, and the answer to that is going to be an Ari. I get a lot of mobility, so that is really something to focus on in this particular game. Because we're talking about jungle, we're talking about vision, and we want to be able to get to those objectives. Somebody like Ari is definitely something we should be worrying about, because with that Spirit Rush being able to hard right at you from over a wall, you really got to be careful.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is the sheer amount of movement they have on this enemy team. I mean, look at this. We've got the Ari dashes, we've got the J4, we've got the Cassante, and now we also have the movement speed from the Karma. It's going to create a very interesting level for how immobile BHR are. This Ornn isn't doing a huge amount of movement, and besides the Grand Starfall on the Pantheon, not much going on there. The Syndra has the Scatter the Weak, but if that's used differently, then it's going to be a bit in trouble.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to be. Yeah, I think it's going to make a couple of interesting situations. Sorry about that. What's it called? I think this Nico Corki lane is one that we should really pay attention to, because in terms of the game plan that BHR, at least I predicted, we're going for, which is one of a survivability based one. Their aim is to survive, to hold on, don't give Praedyth any extra kills, don't let him get too much of a lead. The Nico is an interesting thought, because there's not much peel being offered. It's more of a catch-out champion. Big plays, big flashy roots, and it's going to create just a strange scene as we get into game, and we'll see how this plays.
Okay, just as we had anticipated, there's going to be some action in the bot lane for both Praedyth and Sheik to potentially get ahead. Nothing much is going to be happening as we get some minimal poke damage from the two sides. Let's have a look at what the other players are thinking of the team. So it's a nice 5-man spread, as you guys know, for the side of Fat Pizza, while the rest of them were just scoping out to see what is happening in the bot lane. I'm really interested to see what they want to get the pressure for it early. Do you think?
Yeah, we've seen, in terms of early pressure, we've seen a lot of these tank top laners go against each other. We've seen a lot of, Sion, Ornn, Cassante. And it really shows the meta at the moment is not sort of controlling of the game meta. It's all about team fighting. It's all about sort of helping your team.
All right, Nox is getting some damage dealt onto him. That's going to be a little bit of an issue here as well, considering we want him to be able to get ahead, and with that minimal amount of health on him, his dread size just going to be taken away.
Yeah, I mean, Fat Pizza seems to know the idea of how to play this game. They seem to understand the game plan of BHR, whose main plan is to get Nox ahead. So if you stop him early, if you stop the steam train early, it's going to have a hard time getting up and going.
Oh, and the damage does not stop. Look at how much has been dealt over to Aquila, but they are fighting straight back, and Praedyth needs to back away. It is not looking good in terms of HP being provided overall. Both bots already being used by both of them, and the flash already from Aquila to try to get that last kick off. Unfortunately, no prevail. We were saying that there wasn't going to be much action, and yet here they are. But we do see straight players making it down to the bot lane. Flash E. Oh, beautiful flash and the flag and drag on that one there, and that is first blood over to that pizza. What do you think about that? Oh no.
What that was, I really like the idea of what the BHR's bot lane was doing. They actually got so much prio, but there must have been a little miscommunication, because they knew that J4 was in bot jungle. That still played so aggressive, allowing for the J4 gank to just come in through so freely. So I'm actually a little bit confused as to why maybe they thought he wasn't going to gank or something. Certainly a downfall as first over.
Yeah, this is something that we were talking about. But we've been talking about consistently even as well. Vision being incredibly important, and it wasn't as though BHR weren't able to see Faithful coming on down. But I do believe that a Glenn going in for that flash to try to get that last few damage off is definitely what actually set the tone. And we do see that there's going to be a little bit of action going on the top lane. Nox has gone straight in, but Irresponsible has so much health still available to them. Will he be able to take one of them down? Unfortunately, he has gone one hit off. And is he going to make it? The Q misses, and the turret shot takes him down. We are not happy about that exchange on the side of Bay Harbor Rangers at all.
That is really rough. That is so rough, especially on Nox. Nox's entire tempo completely taken out, not just at the start, but... Oh, I think there was also a kill top lane.
Happening in the bot lane. Hold on a moment. We're going straight back. But he's having, and it's not happening. It is a 1-for-1 so far. We are going to see that is going to be a little bit more damage. But he's just a single man. He's gone for the flash to try to get that 1v1. And he gets the kill. Oh my, okay. So it is a 2-for-2 in the bot lane. And Chicken being the only one to survive there. What a trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, Kismet playing very well. We missed out during that, by the way. Just a little thing that happened in the top lane. Irresponsible. Big Brain actually got not just the kill on Nox there, but went on to solo Rapier and picking up 2 kills for himself, which is absolutely insane and going to skyrocket the tankiness of this Cassante. We saw the play through bot, and while Kismet did do really well to turn it into something favorable, it still ended up quite badly for BHR.
Alright, we're seeing that Nox wants to try to get more than he can chew. He's already gotten so much away from him, but there's going to be a little bit of a push. With absolutely no jungle camps to actually get out of it. I'm unsure what he's trying to get here. A flash has also been heard.
It's a bit of a desperation play, I think, coming from Nox here. If you look, his top side is up. He has access to more jungle camps.
They're going in, the stun's off. He's doing so much damage already, and that is Nox being taken down. Kratos is also in for the flag and flag up. And that is another player down on the side of TOR.
I think this is a mental fortitude game going on now. Nox is a little bit tilted on how this game started. He's in that top jungle, but for no reason. He's got top camps up. And it causes such a messy situation when you have Karma who, you know, can perform decent damage early with that Mantra ult. It's making for a really rough game for Nox to get back this tempo and start climbing that ladder again. It's certainly doable, though, as level 6 comes out for our top laners.
Yes, definitely. Alright, he goes in, and already Sajid is dealt with so much damage from the land. I feel like in general, because of how much pressure we put on Nox and the jungle in general, the players are definitely coming out one after the other. But at what cost? There's so much that is happening on the side of Fat Pizza, and I feel like because they've got so much pressure onto Nox to meet the needs he needs to be good plays, but I kind of think they need to turn it down just a little bit. Alright, we have a little bit of a scuffle over the top side. Cassante has actually gone all in. Another engage all the way in the mid lane too. We've got the Quillen roaming into the lane as well. Going in to try to get a little bit of damage to that heal being popped off. There's so much mobility on the side of Type Pizza. They're going to do a bit of walk safety away.
Thank you so much, Yamethia, for the raid. That's very kind of you. We are currently in game 1 of BHR versus Fat Pizza. And let's talk a little bit about the win con and the play style. Fat Pizza has so successfully located what to do here. They know to get Nox behind, and that worked so well. And at the same time, their win con of getting Kratos ahead, take a look, 3-1. He's got a nice little CS lead for himself coming into that first item. They're going to need a good couple team fights as we get these dragons spawning and Rift Herald coming up and grubs and stuff like that. We're going to need some twists and turns, some really strong Nico ults to potentially have a chance here.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you on that one as well. Because, like, there's so much pressure that's going to be on the side of Fat Pizza to take their lead at the moment. But as we've spoken about previous games in the tournament so far, it's always been a little bit of a back and forth. Kratos going in, but of course, Kismet is ready for that charge to go straight back out again. there is so much pressure as Nox has also begun to make his way down. The Cataclysm going out, Shinji going straight for the... Oh no, that is just... Like, everything went by so quickly on my side of the screen, and Praise is now on a killing spree. And it's not going to be happy as make this survive, and a double kill going over. Ben has now made his way through, and he's got a full 3 kills. So Praise is also going to take that kill for himself as well. Now that is what I call an incredibly third.
That's just really unlucky for Team BHR. We saw Nox there for the counter dive, but with the item advantage and the ult just completely blasting him out of the water, the Cataclysm locking that Pantheon down, he cannot get onto anyone. And at the time, he only had a longsword and a ruby crystal to his name. And the beautiful change of focus from the Fat Pizza jungler there, getting onto that Nico and picking up that kill, just allowed for so much gold to be placed in the hands of Praedyth. That's who you want the gold to be placed in the hands of, if I'm deadly honest with you.
Yes, 100% I agree with you here. They are going for a bunch of away from here, but unfortunately the rest of the team have actually shown up as Irresponsible is now on a continuous fight is going to break out as Irresponsible goes all in on the Rapid. Alone there. This was pretty grabbed over the side of Fat Pizza and additional skill on the side of Fat Pizza again.
And some lovely teamwork there. Irresponsible leaving the kill for Sai Lofu just to have another member of their team picking up a bounty on the board now. We've got a 400 bounty, a 300 bounty, a 200, and another 200. It's going rough for the side of BHR. It's, of course, completely flippable. One Nico ult can change the game. You see Aquilin sneaking around here as the melee minion. But Praedyth is very big. He's got the Kraken completed. There's a redemption with the Karma. With the amount of peel that Praedyth has access to, especially if, in terms of who can actually kill Praedyth here? Well, you've got the Syndra state of the week. We have the engage from the Nico and, of course, Nox. But if Cassante plays these team fights well as that sort of bodyguard, barring away, all-outing whoever attempts to step close to their team captain, what can BHR truly do?
I agree with you there as well, and even if, okay, another engage we've gotten, and they're going for a continuous fight here, but I believe it's going to be so close to the kill on a killing, but he is able to pick that one up and kiss it unfortunately. Now, is he going to stay to risk it for the biscuit? Going OC, probably.
I just think what we just witnessed there was a true micro masterclass from Praedyth. The beautiful micro dodge on that Pop Blossom, the flash out to dodge again. I mean, it's with so much perfected, every single click is perfected from Praedyth. You have to have some form of shutdown to get on him. And currently, the only thing they have on that team, besides the Nico, is that Pantheon shield bash, that stun, the point and click stun there. And I don't think that Pantheon is getting an angle to get on him. As they pick up another Drake, that's going to be 2 Drakes. And look at that, it's going to be a Mountain Soul, so even more healing, even more defense for Praedyth here.
Yes, and it's just going to, it's going to be a waiting game essentially as well, because unfortunately for the side of Bay Harbor Rapiers, like you saw, Aquilin's mode of CC is a skill shot, and with the amount of mobility that they have over the bot lane as well, it's not going to be an easy thing to be able to defend either. First of all, for going in for a little bit of a trade against Rapier, because now that he's got this much relief, he's going to definitely be bullying him again and again. I got the CS difference on that one.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty, and with those Merc Treads complete, there's very little the Ornn can do. It's interesting, with such a lead, with
another engage over in the bot lane, Shinky's going in for that, and they get the tether off, and Shinky's now unstoppable. Cataclysm goes down, Nox is in there, and he's probably going to get taken down by Praedyth, because the amount of damage that he's able to deal at the moment, it is unmatched. And that is probably going to be the first turret of the game.
That's going to be even more gold in Praedyth's pocket. As you saw, The sheer damage from just a Kraken Slayer and a Zeal, I mean, is that not frankly absurd? And look at his health, completely healed. That redemption coming through from Shinky. We saw Nox look for something there, but with the counter gank as well from the J4, the chances to claw back in this game are getting slimmer and slimmer. As not even an item on Nox yet.
And
not
now
even an item
it has
complete.
been caught out with the charm being landed, but luckily, he's alive. This is what happens when you've got the vision. You were talking about it earlier. The amount of mobility, the amount of vision, and the amount of pressure that he has at their disposal. BO1 Arabians really need to tone it down and try to find a good fight for them where they know they're going to win. We already mentioned earlier that they've got so much and then a charm being put down onto the win. This is going to keep going. Scatterly does put down. It has turned up. Unfortunately, Lofi has used it also to get back over the wall and has Shinky to back him up and taking down Kismet and Sajid all at once. This is something that we don't want to be happening for BO1 Arabians.
Yeah, and it's just more of an expansion of not allowing Nox to do anything. They can't even get control of this jungle. Sailufu playing so deep there. Syndra desperately attempted to clear out some vision, take a look what's going on, and you can't do anything because look how far ahead they are. They've got such a huge gold lead at 8k gold now. It's 14 minutes in, and there's an 8k gold lead. And take a look at the gold on Praetor. 3k gold ahead.
Yes, but you know what that means. What it means is that there are 100 bounties that are right before the team. And this is how BO1 Arabians are going to be able to come out on top. We need to be able to get that vision. We need to be able to do exactly what their team told that they've planned out. Execute that plan. As soon as we're able to get the right type of bounties onto the side of BO1 Arabians, we're going to get that gold and try to get more pressure on themselves. Unfortunately, at this point in time, they need to be able to play a little bit slow, try to get that vision from the go, and not play so over. Because they continue to play the way that they are, it's just going to be a straight up roll from the side. You see that Randy he's put his ult down, top wasn't going down, and the going back in. He being taken as criticism as well, and plays another kill. Oh no, Kratos is legendary. He's in the fight. That is a triple kill, and it was looking so good for BO1. Kratos may continue to face up, but the irresponsible is going in for the kill. He has caught out Sajid, and with a double ultimate as well. But of course, there is still so much damage that's going to be left over from that Syndra ult. Honestly, I feel like all of those orbs coming in at the end of it is kind of BS, but that's...
That was, I mean, wow, you could really see Praetor at a 4k lead now, picking up those kills in that fight. That's going to be probably an entire other item added to his repertoire as another risky TP in. This has been the name of the game with these risky TPs.
Maybe I really want to keep fighting. Down by Floki, I'm being taken down as well, and that is another member of BO1. Out. Also, and that is a quadruple by Silofi. We have been focused so hard on Kratos on this EDC, and Silofi is just coming out on top in this particular fight. And he is going in to meet away. Damage is free with the members left in fight. And he's going in for it anyway! A beautiful E! He gets the kill. And another objective it has been taken. Another turret. More gold. It's everybody. I hope you're not doing anything tonight because I feel like treating my own Kratos, guys.
Yeah, that was certainly a team fight and a half. A really interesting grand starfall from Nox there. I did see the vision. They caught out a little bit. There was a really good Nico route that caught just the edge, and he followed up so perfectly with his team with the counter gank from the J4 to just completely wipe out any attempts there. And then, of course, you do have Silofu, who has, yeah, as you mentioned, silently but strongly building up a nice bit of a gold lead with those two items and performing really well in those team fights to get that quadra there. It's a 630 kill game with such a huge gold lead on the side of Fat Pizza.
The thing is that they need to be able to walk around the jungle in numbers. Just one other person on the side of it may as well be a losing fight for BO1 Arabians. this is the thing that we were talking about earlier. They do have the CC to be able to lock Fate down. That was just one person with the food stuff. Now they've got two because Lofi is an assassin essentially. He's out here on his own, jumping in, and unfortunately out. But he's going to be a totally down. Jin going for a little bit of responsible, but I don't even see that health bar going down. While Nox is going to be down. Why Praetor yet again? What is he thinking being in that? And we see on the side as the ultimate goes down by a couple. Another shotgun. This finish of Shaky there, but Praetor is going to take him down. Is now in a tough spot. One more order will take him down, but a nice start of the week once again may as well save his time. But he is still put out because Stroking was on his way regardless. Jin now all on his own.
I hate to say this. I really do hate to say this. But it looks like Praetor is scripting. Did you see the tiny centimeters dodged by that Pop Blossom, by that Nico ult? I mean, it's frankly absurd how well. Oh,
what is going on?
Who knows where that guy's driving that? I have no idea where he's driving that.
I need to get that clip and with the Tokyo phone playing in the background, because did you see he was on a mission the way that he drifted straight at Jungle, and again they were able to take that another part of play. Drake, you're gonna go in for that ult, and the flash into that as well. So Loki in a bit of a tough spot, but of course he did so much damage. Rapier tried to go back in with that bullish charge again. Once Lofi pick it up, that is one more. And of course, Stroking is close by anyway. Not going straight into the box. No! He gets it! And that is huge down. But at what cost will it be worth it? He's going to be taken down, and that is more gold being traded from both sides here. What a fight! You can just tell that they are the Rangers are really trying to let those guys in their favor. Opponent goes in to take Icon on his head.
Yeah, I mean, we can see Nox. I think a bit of a game sort of aspect of how BHR have played this game is one of desperation, and they have just been constantly looking for anything they can grab, anything they can hold on to. As a 1,000 gold on Nox is really good, but
the Cataclysm goes down, and Sejin also being taken down by Irresponsible there. Again, going to do a little bit of I'm going to take over your mid lane now and transfer over to top to try to get some additional pressure. Like Lofi was in their base doing some damage over to Rapier, and you don't even realize that he's personally tanked her. As the fight continues, Rapier needs to back out as the rest of the team is also relatively low. Like Lofi trying to get a lot of damage on them, but unfortunately isn't able to find anybody.
Going for an end?
Nox is now being taken down. It looks as though that they're going to go for an end. Will they have Rapier be able to stop this? We've got Nox going down, but a Killen gets taken down within seconds, followed by his teammate Kismet. You can see the rest of the team trying to defend the base with their life. Kinky being taken down by Rapier, who defends with his life. Praetor taking more damage over to Jin, but he needs to back out as well. They are not going to be able to defend this with all their members still down. And are they going to finish this game off as Nox is the last person? They are being taken down one by one. He cannot do this on his own, as Stroking is now caressing at the Nexus as they take the first win of the night.
Oh my god! A 22-minute game! A 22-minute game! That is frankly absurd. That is absolutely absurd. What just happened? Can someone give me something? Figure out what just happened.
That is definitely something that we didn't anticipate, but at the same time, we kind of guessed. We were talking about how Praetor and Shinky were a force to be reckoned with in the bot lane, and it definitely came into fruition, but a lot faster than we expected it to. And then, as well as being able to focus on that lane, we saw the pressure that Nox had on himself, essentially, because he tried to make these plays, and it just never worked out for him. Hello, you had so much belief in this jungler, and how does it make you feel? What is this upset? What's wrong?
Listen to me, okay?
I'm
We
listening.
can really see, we can really see a lot of different mentals that went on there. We saw looking for those desperation plays, maybe a touch of annoyance, really wanting to get something, because at every stage of the game, Nox, at the start of the game, that really grim little invade that set him up to lose that whole bot side. And then there was that dive top on Irresponsible, leading to a kill and another solo kill on the end. It just caused such a symphony of disaster and spelled the doom for trying to climb the Nox ladder. The Nox ladder, unfortunately, fell a little bit flat there, as we also saw the game plan for the Praedyth, Team Praedyth. It worked so brilliantly. Everything came into what they wanted to do. Praedyth got so much gold on him, and we just saw his micro take over. It's like it was like a man sort of dancing in the street, drunk on the high of life. Left sway, right sway, dodging skill shots left to right. It was beautiful to see. It was a Picasso painting in motion. And once he had that gold on him, I mean, it was a free for all. What could anyone do when you only have the only CC they had on that team was the Pantheon Shield Bash and was the Syndra Scatter the Weak, and that Syndra just never really got ahead. There was no real angle for that Syndra to get gold on her, just because the game was played so deeply in jungle and bot side. Xylofu keeping that gold lead up and then just sort of skyrocketing after Irresponsible left that Ornn kill near the grubs for him.
Yeah, definitely, and this is what we were talking about. How draft definitely matters. Like we saw the prioritization of the Nico being first pick, but that just meant that they had already decided the fate of their bot lane, because what is going to be able to answer something like the Yudara? We saw what they wanted to accomplish, but unfortunately it just was not executed in the way that we would like it to. We wanted them to be able to play it slow, but of course with the amount of pressure that Nox had on himself to try to get that lead, it just let him down again and again. And there was just no respect for Praedyth or his damage. And even Shinky as well, because Karma, people tend to forget that Karma has so much damage at her disposal with those AP ratios that, again, shielding and the tethers being used under tower where they're able to just dive so easily, again and again, it just felt as though they didn't know how to respond to their champions, and it felt as though their draft could have been so much better if they had planned it and in advance, essentially.
Yeah, we saw. I think that's a really good sort of idea to say, and the sort of belief of how that game played. It was a bit of a draft difference. It really was. Even if Nox had gotten that lead, you're so reliant on Nox and that Nico to keep Praedyth in place, to keep that Yunara in place, and with the amount of peel available to Praedyth's team, even if all had gone to plan and even if Nox had gotten fed, it still would have been such a high sort of close game on who can peel Praedyth the best and if he can survive through. And I think with that Karma shielding, with that redemption, he definitely would have been able to do the exact same micro and outplay the exact same way. I do think there were those from Nox. We did see that Grand Staff fall, leading him straight to his doom. We saw a lot of TPs. TP's actually played such a big role in that game. That TP top at the start, giving Nox the idea, okay, we can get a free kill here on the Cassante, but never underestimate the 200-year-old champ. Really never underestimate just how tanky, how many dashes you've got, how much tools you have at your disposal there. And that solo kill, we saw it down. You mentioned damage. We did see the Karma damage with that practical solo on Nox after he had... I'm still slightly confused about that invade. I think there was a miscommunication, and maybe he thought the Grump was up, or maybe he thought the Wolves were up and going to get it, because there was no reason to be in that bot lane jungle, and it just allowed Fat Pizza to come in and collapse and get those kills. And more importantly, the kills didn't matter. It was just a matter of stopping Nox's temp, because we saw we did see Nox play really well and pick up a couple of those bounties, and with that extra gold, maybe with a decent amount more time, he could have picked up again. He could have used that gold to start turning those team fights. But unfortunately, the Praedyth clock ticked a little bit too close to 12, and we saw the gold on that. What can you do?
Essentially nothing, because as we were talking about before, it's all about in the draft. Because even if everything did go particularly well for the side of Bay Harbor Radio, there was just going to be a point in time where Kratos was going to be able to collect what was due and be able to do the exact same thing that he's done within the first 22 minutes of the game. So it was just a slow roll of inevitable doom, unfortunately, and the additional overconfidence from the side of Bay Harbor Radio has just made it look as though that it was a complete and utter stomp. But again, guys, this is why it is absolutely so important. Once you've received your gold, once you've gotten those shutdowns, once you've realized that this fight is no longer on the side of you, you need to back up. Get those reverse lights going, because honestly, this is just what happened. The steamrolling, you know? I know there was no train there, but Orn was still in there, and there was a train covered, but it wasn't for them.
There absolutely, there really was. And we did see it there, patience and knowing when to retreat. It's like Sun Tzu Art of War or something like that. You have to know when to pull out. Unfortunately, there was a lack of pulling out, at least in that game, as we will pull out into a short break before we get into the next game. Stay tuned. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. I mean, what a game. Seeing Pradith play is... It's watching a master at work. The micro, the clicks and everything. It shows just how leagues ahead one player can be compared to, I mean, my homeless looking clicks and just terrible way of performing. If I was on that Yunara, I'd die 10 times out of 10. I don't stand a single shot at surviving any of those skill shots, but every single one, he pretty much dodged. And if not a dodge, a pitch perfect cleanse to just make that game so interesting. I mean, that was absolutely, what a game. What a game. But we've got some really good games coming up. This second game I've been waiting for. I truly have. Kaga. Now, oh my God. Kaga versus Team Fido. Take a look at these players, Viella. What are we thinking?
All right, so we've got Variety Bucket versus Kaga. So you were glazing Kaga earlier today, and I noticed that you didn't speak anything about Variety Bucket. Why is that?
Well, listen. Variety Bucket has some greats. In fact, Variety Bucket has Incept. Now, Incept on my pick'ems is supposed to have the best KDA in any one of these games. Now, we saw Incept play. He played well. He played very, very well, but we didn't get a huge, crazy KDA. Now, Fido, I love Fido. I love seeing how Fido plays. Fido plays like decently aggressive, but he's a calculated individual. Every single act of aggression is so well thought through. He's like a chess master at work, and his chess opponent is gonna be Zookeeper this game. Now, Zookeeper also a very, very good player, but the lane to watch out for, and I want everyone to keep their eyes on the prize of Sammy and Gavin. Gavin, what is he going to do? Oh my God, we cannot tell, but if Sammy gets ahead, Variety Bucket is going to find themselves in deep trouble, really deep trouble. I've described Sammy's ADC's playstyle as like quicksand. The more kills he gets, the more Variety Bucket is going to find their crispy weapons sinking deeper and deeper into the sand of Sammy. Now, taking a look at the top lane as well, SK Knight, S Knight, however you want to swing it, that's a good top laner right there. I versed his Mordekaiser. Now, I imagine Kaga will not be allowing that Mordekaiser to be allowed to play. I personally wouldn't allow that Mordekaiser through because it is a deep threat. And then you've got Daya, of course, against him. I think, personally, it's going to be a battle of the bot lanes. We've got Daisy and Frog, of course.
Another bot lane, but...
Yeah, it will be. I think we've seen... In terms of the meta, we really haven't really seen too much top lane defined matchups. We did see, we saw Willy Wonka get very far ahead on that Fiora in that game, and he performed exceptionally well. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of team fighting. And while you can have these split pushes, what matters is that finale team fight, the kills you collect, the peel you use, the CC you shut down those enemy carries. And we are ready to get into draft straight away. Let's take a look. Someone ban that Mordekaiser, please.
Well, we were talking about how draft is like incredibly important, especially with what we saw in the last game. So hopefully we're seeing something with a little bit more. We're planning for the future. Yes, we have a plan for how we want to be able to execute this game, but if it goes badly, what can we fall back on? And that's what I want to be able to see here. If we have something that's super mobile like a Karma and a Yunara again, we want to be able to have some lockdown CC to be able to catch those people out. Can you talk to me about this Cassiopeia being banned out?
I can describe that perfectly to you. That right there is Incept's finest. Now, may I say, Cassiopeia and his Anivia are the bread and butter of Incept's champ pool. Now, that's not to say he doesn't have an Olympic swimming-sized pool, but taking away that Cass and taking away that Anivia is going to be important as anything for Kaga. Because if you allow him on the snake, he's going to slither all over Kaga's team. As we get an Alistar ban, Frog's Alistar, no peel allowed. And there's the Ambessa ban, pretty much seen throughout this tournament. Ambessa Kiana, the duo, we've seen that on most of these games. No one is allowed to play Ambessa, and pretty much no one is allowed to play Kiana. Two very dominant champs right now.
It's interesting that you were talking about Mordekaiser needing to be banned out, but we're not seeing that Mordekaiser being banned Oh, now we
Right
do.
on cue,
Never mind.
right on
My bad.
cue.
My bad.
SK Knight's
my
Mordekaiser
bad.
is just so powerful. The dominance he has over this game. And, you know, you don't see it very often with Mordekaiser because Mordekaiser can be considered, not that it always is, but it can be considered not a low elo pick, but a sort of hard to make use of in these late game team fights. With the lack of movement, he's a bit like a Nasus. But SK Knight has this special spice to make it work, to get on those enemy carries and to just take them out of that fight and allow these team fights to come through as a Mel lock-in. It's a classic TOR classic. We always see it. We've seen it so many times. We've seen it dominating the Mel.
The Mel being picked, we've noticed that Mel actually has a 100% win rate, if I'm not mistaken. She does, doesn't she? And also something that we want to focus on as well is that Lysaea is now the mid laner. He's one of the subs, isn't he? For
yes,
Yuzina?
Yazuna was the original Kaga Esports mid laner, and that's been subbed out for Lysaea.
Okay.
Here.
All right.
It's gonna be important for them to perform. It's gonna be interesting, a bit of trial by fire to see if they perform, to see if they put on the showing that the rest of the team is expecting. Gavin is a man of high ordinance. He wants everything picture perfect, and all of his little minions, I mean, that's how I think he personally described them as that. He wants all of his little minions working in key harmony as we get the Wukong lock-in for Zookeeper here.
I'm really liking the team composition for Kaga at the moment. We've got a lot of potential for these fights mid to late game. This is something that I was stressing about earlier too. That being said as well, let's consider the fact that they have a Mel that has been locked in and they still decided to opt for the Morgue.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting, it's going to be, I believe that will be, of course it could be a Morgana jungle. I believe that will be a Morgana mid lane. I've got my eyes peeled on this SK Knight Renekton pick. Now, Cassante is a very hard champion to shut down, to keep him bullied early. In fact, early is the only time you can do anything because once he gets an item, good luck to you. Renekton is the pick to do that though. Renekton is the pick to get on, get him shut down, and get him offline as long as possible. And I really think in the hands of SK Knight, Renekton is going to be the angle that they need to delay, because that's what they need to sort of do. They need to delay. If Sammy gets his items and gets online, they're going to be in trouble. But what's interesting is the blatant disrespect from Variety Bucket here. We saw no ADCs. And with my prediction of this Kaga Esports game plan relying around Sammy, he's going to show him. He's going to show him who to respect and where. I think that's what we're going to have to see, as we do see ADC bans come out from Kaga attempting to put down any of Daisy's picks and who they might pick here. As we get a Lulu lock-in.
Yeah, we saw how threatening the Yunara was in the last game, so it's good to see that, we've got a Kai'Sa and Rel in the bot lane for Sammy and Gavin. You are rubbing
a good game.
You're a little rat rubbing your hands together.
Rel Gavin. Oh my god, I'm very excited. I'm very excited indeed. And the enemy bot lane. Scaler's gonna scale.
This frog on Jinx.
Yes, get excited. That passive is gonna play a very big part in these team fights. I don't know what we're going to see, because you have an aggressive bot lane here with the Kai'Sa, with the Rel, and then you've got a sort of mid-scaling that you want to just sit back, you want to get your items, and then you want to get those picks in team fights, you want to get those resets, activate that passive. I think we can understand what needs to go in here on both sides. As we get into game, it's a jungler's game. Fido versus Zookeeper, as we get a bit of an invade going on here.
Already an early invade, and we've seen how much of an invade can determine the rest of the game. So Zookeeper thinking ahead here and backing. Yeah, I do like that one there, but they do get a nice cheeky ward there. Again, vision, something that we always need to focus on. Vision is important, so we're going to be able to see on what Zookeeper decides, follow through on this pathing.
Yeah, and I mean, I want everyone to take a look at the bot lane of Kaga. Don't get it confused. That's not me playing on both accounts. It is a Hallow on Kai'Sa, but I promise you that's Sammy, and that is Gavin on Rel. I promise you it's not me. We saw that last invade come out on that other game and just stop Nox right in his tracks, as invades seem to be the name of the game. Look at this. We've got 4 members of Team Kaga moving around the river and looking to just stop anything in this tracks, because Fido, in terms of what in terms of what Team Variety Bucket want to do, I believe that their game plan is going to play through Fido, just delay the game as much as possible for this Jinx to get what she needs to get the items that she needs to get. I don't think we'll be seeing much in the mid lane. Lycia and Incept, the Rel, as Rel goes in, these early trades, going to be Lulu favored here, the double range bot lane. Quite superior.
Honestly, I am a huge Lulu Jinx fan. There is so much aggression coming from the move speed. The overall kit of Lulu is why so many ADCs ban her out, because she is just unplayable against. And I definitely feel as though your doppelganger is feeling that.
And there's a little bit of take a look at the sneakiness from Fido here, EQing directly onto Zookeeper, blind, may I say, blind, and being able to take the red. We'll have to see. No, forced to give the red as Lycia hits the root. Incept is here, and Lycia is forced to flash away. Lulu doing a decent amount of damage for an early game Lulu, as we find Team Karga caught in this bot jungle. A flash! Q, the binding goes out onto Lycia, and that's going to be first blood over, as Gavin finds himself caught as well, forced to flash away.
That is absolutely, this is exactly what we were talking about before. You said that it was blind, but we could see that there was a warder on the Raptors, so they were able to tell that Zookeeper was making his way onto the red buff, and you can see that Fido was definitely thinking, how much health does this red buff still have, and is it my time to shine? And definitely that's exactly what we saw. There's so much aggression coming from Fido and the rest of Variety Bucket, and they are moving as a team to make sure that Zookeeper is being kept himself.
Yeah, certainly. I think this game plan of playing through Fido, and look, we get another aggressive invade. They do not want this monkey doing anything at all. And with the Renekton, with the prior from the Renekton, this top side sort of kingdom, as it shall be named, is gonna be kept for a decent amount of time. Before this Casanto, who's gonna need that Sheen, he's gonna need it to come online and at least attempt to roam against this Renekton. But the dominance of Renekton's early game is well known. Everyone knows just how strong this crocodile is early.
Oh, definitely. And it just goes to show that they were trying to play around what their champions are capable of doing. Because we were talking so much about Variety Bucket wanting to be able to drag it out and make sure that Daisy is going to be able to come online with this Jinx pick, and an S-Knight being able to shut down this Cassante. But unlike what we saw in the last game, they do have an answer to if Daisy does end up getting off and gets a little bit too excited. We've got Lycia on the Bell, we've got Zookeeper, and we've got Zookeeper on Wukong, and then Cassante too. And as a Jinx, unless you are able to get excited, the mobility and the peeling from Incept and Frog needs to be on point.
Yeah, and what do we think about this Black Shield that Incept can offer here? What are you mainly looking to just get out of the way? What CC are you looking to dodge on Team Karga?
It's going to be huge, and especially because what we have as well, we've got a Daisy, as I was saying, we've got Daisy on the Jinx, and we want her to be able to deal as much damage as possible. And being locked down isn't something that we want. So Incept needs to make sure that when Daisy is in those fights, he's going to be able to continuously deal as much damage as possible before eventually being taken down, because we've got so much all in and so much CC from the side of Karga Esports that it is possible for him to get.
Ooh, as we get a little bit of a tussle in the top jungle, a perfect use of the clone from Zookeeper to dodge that binding, or more so use it as a get down Mr. President body block. But look at how strongly these chickens are being contested here. They do not want to give even one camp to Zookeeper here, who's just stuck on 20 CS, although they left a couple of those little chickens. But I want you to take a look at the bot lane going on right now. We have a very nice CS lead over to Daisy, who's picked themselves up a cull. They're locking in. They're putting the seatbelt on for this scaling lane. As I think we need a bit of aggressiveness from Gavin here. I really do think we need some plays to be made early for Karga to allow themselves the ramp into the late game, is what has happened in the top lane here. As Daya's all-out ends, though, SK Knight gets a bit of healing and has a fully Fury charged Q available to heal himself. This is going to be a close to close as the Intopo strikes. And he's just immediately soloed in the top lane. Daya those level 6s coming through, and that's not what you want from the Renekton, faltering so early in your prime time. LeBron's prime down. That's another kill. Oh, first kill, of course. Over Variety Bucket. It's gonna be on Kaga there.
On Kaga, yeah, and it's crazy because you were talking about how Renekton is going to be the one to try to shut down Kasante, and that's definitely going to be able to put them a little bit further back on their overall plan.
As Gavin's engage is immediately stopped by those chompers, those flame chompers there. The rel pick is, as seemingly the extended trade did go out. Lulu picking up Sammy there, but Sammy picking up Daisy. That's going to be a nice bit of gold in that Kaiser's pocket. Gold he needs to carry this game.
Oh, definitely, because we're seeing that the rest of the team is trying to get a lead as well.
As we get even more contention in this top jungle, Zookeeper has not gotten any CS besides 8 measly pieces, as Fido will clean up another jungle camp. The jungle dominance is strong, as there was another kill to go out, which leaves the Feats of Strength 3 kill going over to Variety Bucket.
I absolutely love the way that it's going
CS.
so far as well. It's insane. We spoke about earlier how the Vision, the early game, being able to track Zookeeper in total, and he is actually being locked. He's trapped in a cage almost because he's trying to get to his camps, and always there's somebody
push
waiting for
comes
him.
from Sammy, forced to use the killer instinct. Daisy finds himself alone with no Lulu left to help out, and the lethal tempo is putting out so much damage. Sammy picking up another kill, even with that BF sword on Jinx there. Not enough, only getting Sammy to about half, even forced to barrier.
And this is the trouble with playing Jinx, because you need to be able to have your support with you. Definitely something they need to be wary of throughout the entirety of this game.
Yeah, I think just pushing up a little too far there from Daisy, and it was a perfect use of an XP advantage. When Kaiser walked into lane, he was level 5, and then Sammy hit level 6 to Killer Instinct in, and already this chain vest on Kasante completely invalidating the phase Renekton. It's going to be hard for SK Knight to find the foothold. He's going to need a solo or something to get a lead a little bit better. Little bit needed, as even now, look at the Kasante chase away this crocodile.
Well, it's interesting to say the least that we were talking about how you wanted SK Knight to be able to get that overall dominance against Kasante, but it doesn't seem to be the case, which is totally fine considering the rest of his team is doing exactly what they need to be able to do. Zookeeper being able to take a key little grubs, and that's going to be the first time he's not being contested for any sort of camp in the jungle, might I add.
Yeah, these will be well appreciated grubs, as we can see Fido is bot side, maybe looking to trade for a dragon, as Zookeeper chooses to not go for the third grub there. Now, that's an interesting play. Whether that was planned due to him thinking he was going to be collapsed, they do have vision on Fido right now, as maybe Fido wants to look for a dive on the Sammy Gavin lane. Everyone is full health on the side of Variety Buckets as the chain, the flame choppers go through. The EQ Cataclysm from the J4, but the tower shot is enough to keep Aloe alive. Daisy takes 2 tower shots, but Rel picks up both kills. It's a flash stun onto Incept, who is forced to flash even further away. And the kill does go to Incept there.
Oh,
now, we
that's
saw
so crazy.
Sammy
Yeah, we
played
were
it
talking. Let's
beautifully.
break it down a little bit as well, because we were talking about earlier how Zookeeper left one of those grubs. Might I add is that if you take all 3 of those, it does actually let the enemy team know that you are at that objective. So I believe it's just a little bit of a where is Zookeeper, and they want to be able to keep pressure on for that side, because vision is king. Unfortunately, on the side, we saw it in that fight as well. Like, they were able to get that dive off because Fido was close by, and they want to be able to get Daisy fed. Just like the last ADC that we saw in the last game. You can see how much an ADC can be able to tear the tides and do so much damage for the rest of the team, and it's going relatively well. Dare I say, look at the gold lead, look at the CS. It is insane that they would get so much pressure early, and that is just the strength of a Lulu Jinx pick.
Yeah, I mean, that dive as well, by all accounts, played beautifully from Kaga, and picking up 2 is going to be so important. But the issue was Gavin getting the last hits and getting the gold on him instead of Sammy is not what you want. You outplay the dive well, you trade 2 for 2, and yes, Incept was there to sort of make sure it all went well. But he also traded his summoner spells, but then just the twist and the turn, Gavin picking it up. And it's not that the gold is bad on the Rel. You're gonna need that tanky front line. But already with the Cassante and the Wukong, you'd really prefer it on this Kai'Sa.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But the thing is that, like, even if Sammy does... Oh, no, seems okay. Even if Sammy does end up being relatively behind in the first part of the game, because of the amount of frontline and engage that he has at his disposal, he will definitely be able to get some damage down and be able to pick up some of those kills. Zookeeper being on this Wukong, jumping into the back line, dealing as much damage as possible, and being able to burn all of those ultimates, especially the overgrowth from Frog on this Lulu here. Once it's been taken down, they're definitely going to be able to get something out of it too. It's not as tanky on the side of a Variety Bucket here, aside from, of course, SK Knight being on the Renekton and his Dominus being procced. But other than that, what is their overall, like, game plan here?
Well, I do want to talk about Kaga's overall game plan, which I
I
mentioned.
mean Variety Bucket, sorry.
No, I
So, like,
know, but I just want to talk really briefly. Now, this Kai'Sa pick, I'm having my doubts because we just talked about how tanky of a frontline Kaga has available to them. And while that is great with a backline ADC, Kai'Sa is not a backline ADC. Kai'Sa is an ADC you want to be mobile with, you want to get those dives, and while it works really well with the Wukong, if this Rel is forced to sort of play more of a front to back, Variety Bucket's team comp is way more suited for that. They have so much peel available to them with the Lulu Morgana as we get a top lane little bit of a scuffle onto SK Knight here, eating every all-out ability. There is a beautiful counter gank from Fido, but the Entopo Strike knockup will go through as SK Knight is low, forced a flash from Daya, and Fido is there for the counter gank. SK Knight surviving on very limited health. Zookeeper is here, the Nimbus Strike going out, already half health on both junglers here as Zookeeper is forced to run away, tail between his legs. The Jinx Rocket missing.
Oh my
Nothing to
gosh,
worry
when I honestly had to mute during that entire exchange because I was slapping my desk with how close that fight was. Honestly, if I was a top laner in this particular engage and Fido came and saved my life like that, oh, you already know I'm in his DMs and thanking him and offering my firstborn to him in the end of the game.
That is the two sides of the top laner. I am nothing but enraged by Fido ruining what seemed to be a beautiful 1v1 that Daya had the upper hand, at least forcing the flash. As look at these chickens. The most hotly contested chickens in any game of the TOR tournament. Fido desperately wanting to farm them up. Forced to EQ. Fido finds himself with no EQ here as Lycia's Brute goes wild. But Incept Brute hit perfectly as Gavin is forced to counter disengage. They fall away from the top river and they have full access to this dragon if they so choose. Very good binding.
I actually want to say that with the chickens being highly contested, I definitely feel like it's planned. Like, look at their name. Look, they're the Variety Bucket, and I'm pretty sure their logo is the KFC Variety Bucket, if I might add. So they're definitely trying to get sponsored by somebody. Not sure who. Hashtag Logitech sponsored the stream, by the way. So like these chickens being taken again and again by Variety Bucket is honestly like
it's very lore friendly, isn't it? That's what I love to see. As look at that. What else I love to see? A good support. Frog blocking the Prey Seeker. That's what you want out of your support. Frog and Daisy working 100%. Hand in hand, arm in arm.
Definitely.
What do you think about this Renekton Black Cleaver first?
Black Cleaver first in what he's already dealing with at the moment against this Cassante? I feel like it's not... Oh, sorry, go.
No, well, I just think, listen, as a top laner, you have to decide, as we didn't get to see that, but a Jinx Rocket sniping Lycia there. Confused as to what happened there, but absolutely taken quickly. Super Mega Death Rocket. We're 1 for 2 here as Zubia engages on Frog. Frog forced to flash away, the Cyclone coming out, and the Wild Growth just stopping. A really nice EQ to zone off any further engages under tower there. We're going to be down a couple sums on the side of Variety Bucket, but No deaths traded compared to Lycia falling as Daisy finds himself space
No
gliding
way.
on this Cassante. Left, right, back, forth. Will Daya get out? He's got a lot of dashes, the chain best, but he just needs a couple more autos. And that's going to be a solo on the ADC straight onto Daya.
Okay, as a top laner, Hallow, how much are you fuming right now?
Oh my god, so not only do you have this jungle interference, but then you've got this ADC lane swapping causing even more problems. It's going to be a Rift Herald over to Team Variety Bucket as well. A lot of objectives.
Yes.
We have those grubs on Karga, but with the dragon going down and now the Rift Herald, it certainly is going to be a more expanded gold lead as we're already about 3 to 4k gold ahead on Team Variety Bucket here.
Yeah,
a more
definitely.
defensive sort of arrangement coming out in the items. We can see this Mel picking up Seraph first. What do you think about Seraph first on Mel?
Well, we were talking about how much damage and how much of a engaged comp that they have on the side of Variety Bucket here, and considering Mel wants to be able to deal as much damage and get that execute off with her ultimate, I dare say it is a great idea to have that Seraph to overall survive.
Oh, as a beautiful Black Shield comes in from Incept, who's forced to change of corruption here. The double stun from Gavin, as it's going to be a takedown on both the Lulu and the Mel. Daisy is here to desperately collect the clippings, but there's nothing to be found.
That is, and this is why people see Mel and just go FF. She has so much damage at her disposal. The execute of that ultimate being taken down not one but 2 players as well. I can already see how these fights are going to be playing out into these mid to late matches, into these mid to late.
Hold on. I might just be getting a bit of a report in. I believe the Rift Herald was left behind as Fido cataclysms on himself and finds himself falling. Sammy is in the fight. He has Killer Instinct in, and he just ate a shutdown. That is what Karga needs for this fight. And can I just get a little confirmation here? I don't see a Rift Herald in any of the inventories or any of the ward slots for Variety Bucket. They left the Herald.
So not only did Fido just
Why does
die,
Jarvan have Zhonya's? Hold the phone. Fido has a Zhonya's. That's a shattered arm glove. What is the AP scaling on that flag? Is it 100? Is this a new AP Jarvan build Fido is experimenting with? They don't care that this is Karga's last game. They don't care that this is Variety Bucket's last game. If they lose, he wants that going golden. What is going on?
Oh, honestly, that is just it's so funny. You're able to get a nice, juicy, uncontested objective and just to realize it's not there. And honestly, maybe it was at that point he realized and that's why he got called out at the end of that fight over there, but who really knows. I do believe that we may actually have the opportunity to interview these people later on, so maybe we can find out what was going on after we were able to take that Herald.
I mean, I imagine he's communicated, the Einstein of his time, Fido. I mean, I can't hate the Zhonya's. Well, no, sorry. I can hate the Zhonya's. I hate the Profane Hydra build, and I hate the Zhonya's. As once again, he is obsessed with these chickens. These chickens. Zookeeper has not touched these chickens. Fido is obsessed.
No.
Take
that back, Hallow. He definitely has touched them, but he has not eaten them. He has not slain them for himself. And unfortunately, Fido is just going to keep on taking.
Ooh, as the binding does collect onto Gavin, who's going to take a very large amount of damage, forced to jump away. The Megadeth rocket going a little bit wide there, and we did see Sammy pick up the shutdown onto Fido there, which has allowed a nice bit of gold income, getting that Kraken Slayer, working towards the Gwinsu's next, I believe. As we're going to get a trade of objectives. Team Karga going for Atakan, while Fido has gone for the second Drake, but that might not be the trade they wanted, as now the team collapses. Variety Bucket is here. We've got the ADC on the right side getting in the reset, and it will go over to Team Karga as Hallow is forced to Killer Instinct away, still in the backline as this Renekton is in the middle. The Mel ult going through, taking them all out, but Daisy has reset. Collect. It's gonna be a pentakill for Daisy. Those resets, those rockets, 5 kills go over to Daisy.
This is exactly what I was telling you about before. As soon as Daisy gets into that fight, he's gonna be able to just take his pick, because if you saw Zookeeper went straight into the backline, like we all anticipated him to do, And we are getting a replay. Check this out, guys. We already can tell that Daisy wants to go and get that last hit on the roof. It already crossed that passive. And Zookeeper being able to take down first. And it was just all in from there. It's so unfortunate that Liseo wasn't able to get as much damage as he wanted to try to get that execute off. But luckily on the side of Variety Bucket, they get the chickens and they get the fights. They get the pentakill. Is that the first pentakill of this tournament?
That might be, I believe, the first pentakill, which is
that in
absolutely
Pick'ems as well?
absurd.
Is that in the Pick'ems as well for pentakills?
That is in the Pick'ems, I believe,
Guys,
truly. So
check
make
that one
sure
off.
you've got that locked in. But did anyone think Daisy was going to get it? Who knows? As we really saw the strength play of the power spikes there. Daisy hitting that IE. The Yuntal IE power spikes on Jinx is absurd, and we did see it there. Zookeeper attempted in a last-ditch effort to desperately keep this Jinx away by sacrificing himself. But it just wasn't enough. The reset just allowed her to get even closer. And what I actually really liked was how SK Knight played that team fight. He understood, I'm not going to solo this. I need my team to collapse, and I trust my team to collapse. So all he did, dive back in that backline, don't care about your own life, and just waste time. Allow this Jinx to get a reset, which she did, and allow her to take over. We do get a second item on Sammy here, but with 3 items on this Jinx, as a beautiful binding goes out from Incept, not onto the clone, onto the real Zookeeper. Gavin will be stunned. Fido not looking to go in, as we can see. Just the sheer ability. Hey, says the Mega Death Rocket does hit. Gavin half health. Fido looking, creeping around, is hit by the Mel root. And he's potentially forced to jump away, but EQ's in the flank.
He's so...
going through. Lycia's cooldowns are low enough to get a root. To maybe
What is going on here?
But Daya is tempting to fight as it goes under the tier 3, and the power shot will take down SK Knight. The greed of a crocodile is unmatched.
Oh my
We get
goodness.
a tier 2 sieged in bot lane.
Honestly, there's so much going on both sides of the map. I feel like I'm jinxed at the moment because I'm a little bit too excited with what's going on here. We've got Daisy, who's a powerhouse at the moment, and I can see that... Oh! Fido has finished his Zhonya's. Do you like... How do you...
The Zhonya's?
Do you like that?
I don't know if I'm reading that correctly, but he's gone for the infamous...
He's
what is that?
committed.
That's the Himalayan build. He's got a Profane first into the Zhonya's power spike. Let's see if we can do the double camp. A little bit of tech there with that smite. And that type of tech, that type of jungle tech from Fido, from that team captain, is how he can afford to build this Zhonya's, as we might see a Cataclysm into Zhonya's combo. Something I've only dreamt of and should probably stay in my dreams. Zookeeper finds himself on vision there, caught out a little bit, but is able to escape using that monkey magic. As Fido, another camp taken. It has been a jungle kingdom for Variety Bucket. As the binding goes onto a huge Gavin engage. Sammy is in the backline, but can't enter due to this Morgana. The Cataclysm goes out onto Hallow here, who's getting as much damage as he can, but SK Knight is in the top half of this team fight. Daya taken down. Sammy taken down. The binding forced to flash from Lycia, as it doesn't look good for Karga Gaming.
That is, you can already see the amount of damage being dealt from both sides, but unfortunately, the AoE from Daisy and the engage from the side of Variety Bucket as a whole is insane. And of course, guys, Fido is back at those chickens. Nothing can keep him
once
away.
Again, another chicken's taken, and he wants that over the Baron. He does not care. I say no to this Baron. I want the chickens instead, as it is getting rinsed by Daisy's 3 items.
Well, of course, who's going to be contesting? Zookeeper is aware. He's like, no, it has been tried and tested again and again. Fido's going to be taking my tickets. I must go back. I must reclaim my red side jungle. And that's exactly what he went and did. But when you really think about it, was he going to be able to make it to Baron in time? No!
Pings are going out. Looks like Team Karga does want to contest this dragon here, as a flash goes onto the Lulu, but just flashes away. SK Knight in the middle, the Wild Growth knocking up both Zookeeper and Gavin. No one can find a way into this fight. A flash entrance from the Cassante as the binding goes out. SK Knight takes down Zookeeper. The Cataclysm goes out onto Sammy and Hallow, stuck in the gap. It does not matter though, the damage is too much. Sammy putting out so much movement, so much damage, but it's just not enough. Look how tanky this team is. That Baron buff performing so many extra stats. Zhonya's was used, and And it did save Fido's life as well, I think.
I love this is what happens when you put all of your eggs in one basket. Hello, you have said the casters curse. You were so excited about Sammy on this Kaiser, and this is what happens. We have the opposite team taking the win on their composition overall. The Jigs are Lulu taking the game. This is people want to go home and we'll go home. They want to go to bed. They
My
want to.
lord, that was I had predictions. I had predictions for that game. My predictions are all gone. They're all completely gone.
Update me. Like there was a pentakill there. There was your team losing. What else? Tell me all about.
I want you to understand something. I need everyone to understand something.
I'm trying
Before bed
to.
last night, I wrote a little letter to myself and I said, Sammy will 1v9, Kaga will win, and I put it under my pillow and I spent the whole night sleeping and just manifesting that there was a chance here. And it was just that starting dive. Gavin was too big. He took both of those kills. And if Sammy had gotten that gold, a couple of those team fights could have been turned. What I want to understand, what I want to make clear is that Micro was really well played on both sides. We saw Deus Cassante putting out a storm. We saw Sammy dodging so many skill shots. But that gold lead that Daisy got from that pentakill and from those couple earlier kills just allowed for the power spikes to be hit earlier, specifically that Atacon fight. If Daisy didn't have that IE power spike at that Atacon fight, I truly believe it would have gone a little bit differently. I truly believe maybe a couple more members of Kaga could have gotten out, and it just wouldn't have snowballed to such a huge degree. And I think that spelt the doom. That trade wasn't bad, but it was the pentakill after that just spelt the doom for Kaga. You saw it did not matter really how we could play these fights, and they were played well. A beautiful flash stun from Gavin, but without the follow-up, as Sammy could not engage. You had that binding, that sort of incept, allowing for the pressure, so much pressure to engage. It's almost like a really nice counterpick to Kaiser, who wants to get in range, but the moment you get in range, you're gonna be altered, you're gonna be shackled. So much to juggle for Team Kaga in these fights, and then you just have the constant scare of a 9-kill Jinx with IE, 1 death spelling the end of your team. And it will be the end of Team Kaga for the Oceanic Resurrection Tournament.
But again, this is the Resurrection Tournament, so your gaming is still helping the region as a whole. We definitely appreciate the games being played. We definitely appreciate your time, players here as well, and giving us overall entertainment here. Unfortunately, you guys are no longer going to be in the running for these wonderful mice that I've got sitting on my bed, but that's totally fine because the pick'ems are still in motion, guys. We still have those. So remember, if you are in those for the pick'ems, have I got some great news for you? Some more prizing. I'm pretty sure I don't have it in my hands, not yet, but next week, guys, I'll be back and I will tell you more about the amazing prizing that Logitech has provided us in terms of these pick'ems. But again, back to that game. Oh my gosh, Daisy was unstoppable. Definitely the most excited person on there. I feel like during that pentakill fight, I had to stay muted because it was just so much going on. As soon as I saw Zookeeper going into the backline to try to prevent the one thing that ended up happening in the end, I just knew, because you can see it happening. You're like, okay, what do I want to be able to do? Stop the Jinx from getting excited. What's my team doing? Surely they can handle it. Okay, now I'm dead. It's all doom and gloom, and now there's a pentakill. How do you come back from that? You were saying before there was just so much an upset from that one, and they didn't even need a Rift Herald to win this game. The fact that they left the Rift Herald behind and they weren't punished hard enough for that was just, it's unacceptable, really. Like, there were not enough Mia pings, guys. We are not focused enough on this, but at least we were able to get, I'm pretty sure, was it 100% of those chickens on the blue side we were able to score?
Collecting over 100% of those chickens. I mean, it was so rough for Zookeeper to play. And honestly, the disrespect of Fido just being able to go into the Shattered Arm Glass, he doesn't need AD. AP Jarvan, we might play it and we might see it in the next game. But for now, we might go to a short break as we prepare to get into this third game, but we will have to say goodnight to Team Kaga in this tournament now. But maybe next year, they will rise again.
Oh, die to rise again. That's how it always works.
Absolutely. But we'll go to a short break till we get into that next game. Or maybe not. Or maybe not. But potentially not. It was just a little prank from Team Kaga.
Why was I pranked?
The last laugh.
Why was I not told about this prank? Hold on a second.
They'll have the last laugh. But I do want to speak a little bit more so about the jungle matchup.
Yeah.
What could Zookeeper have done there? When you have such a sort of strength, a sort of, you can't move with this Cassante. Zookeeper could not get, you didn't have a top side. Even with that Renekton's prior from the start, you could never contest any of that top side. And honestly, somehow, Daisy and Frog found a way to just get so much prior in the bot side that Rel Kai'Sa could not move with Zookeeper there. Do you think this game was solely decided in the jungle then?
I feel like because Zookeeper was kept so far behind, he was so focused in trying to get something in the jungle, and I feel like at the same time he completely forgot about his laners, because we saw Fido going for these ganks again and again, but not so much for the side of Zookeeper. We didn't see much of action from him. We only really saw them in those fights.
Yeah, and we'll see some more action in the next game, but we're gonna go to that short break. No prank from Kaga this time. Absolutely, and we'll see you soon. what a game. What a game. What a game. What a game. I mean, Kaga Esports, Variety Bucket, two titans, and we saw
Chickens.
oh my god, the chickens. How many chickens? I really do think
99.999% of chickens were stolen.
it was absurd that Fido wasn't just playing a jungle game. Fido was playing a lore-friendly jungle game, going for all the chickens and opting for the Zhonyas, which in fairness, I saw that Shattered Arm Guard use. It didn't get a great amount of value, but there was that good Zhonyas in that final dragon fight there. I love it, though. I really love it. I never kept track, and this is my own fault. We didn't keep track of the flag damage. It does have 100% scaling.
There
You've got a
is.
decent amount of AP on that Zhonya's.
And the
of course
shielding.
you got the armor as well. I mean, geez,
Yep,
what an item and what
exactly.
a build. What an absolute lovely
we
build.
keep glazing that guy, but I'm pretty sure that's the same dude that didn't pick up the Rift Herald.
That is very true.
Stop
That is
glazing,
very
guys.
true.
Stop glazing.
It'd be interesting to watch that game back and see if potentially they left the Rift Herald, handicapping themselves. But Kaga played very well. Kaga played really well, and it was a bit of a game of counterpicks there. We saw the Renekton, even though there was that little solo, those little contestions, we saw the Renekton do the job of putting down that Cassante enough to never allow him to become a threat. He never became really a big enough threat. Daya never really had the sort of silhouette, the large silhouette that he needed to be in those team fights.
Yeah.
And then we saw this Morgana, Incept Morgana against the Mel. One of the first times we've seen Mel be so silenced, Mel be so binded. You know, what did you do? There was never really an angle in team fights for the Mel to play. And every time there was this specific gank on her in mid, where the black shield from Incept was so perfect, it didn't even look like Mel had rooted at all, had even thrown the E ability. And then, of course, whether or not you consider the Wukong a counter to J4 or the J4 a counter to Wukong, Fido just had so much dominance. And so the angle that we had to look for was bot lane. We had to look for Sammy and Gavin. They never got their opportunity to shine. Like, we had some great flash engages from Gavin. We had some really good counter ganks from Gavin. But the problem is the gold lead was already just out of their hands. The dive, that 4-man dive onto Sammy and Gavin, they outplay so beautifully with the 2, taking out 2 for the cost of 2. But the kills and the gold going on Gavin, which he didn't really have much control over, he had to do that damage to ensure that the towers did it. But it just left Sammy in such a deficit that even though the micro was done right, the engages were done beautifully, he didn't have the gold, he didn't have the damage output. And it was just a symphony of rough events after another. The pentakill onto Daisy, the perfect kiting, the peeling from Frog. What a game. I mean, what a game.
Because we also saw there was a lot of trading happening. Oh, when trading, guys, there was a lot of trading happening in the bot lane as well, because Jinx and Lulu have so much damage output early. And despite what a lot of people may say about Rel, even though she can go all in onto this Lulu, unless she's actually considering going in on it, there's so much range difference from there, because she is melee, and there was just so much auto attacks. Like, I'm pretty sure we saw that Frog was able to finish a lot of these kills just because he had that space in between them, and he didn't even get targeted by these towers either. So there was just so much happening that was going well on the side of the Variety Bucket too, because of how well they just played so well together as a team. Like you saw in the early game, they got that vision down on both sides of the map, both on the blue camp and to the red camp. So we're actually going to be looking into, what was that? Sorry.
We are doing a team interview, I believe, with
No way!
Incept. Oh, no, sorry. No, Joe, no, sorry, that's my bad. No team interview, unfortunately. I got too hyped there. I'm very excited. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But I want to talk about, you mentioned that damage in the bot lane. Next match lineup we'll be looking at, but I really want to mention really quickly that little bit of bot lane we saw in that level 1. Just so much damage go on to the Rel and the Kai'Sa there. We'll come back to this, but let's take a look at this lineup here.
Oh yes, here we
Holy
go.
Crusaders, HKFC, Dextros in the jungle versus Arya, Tallywhacker versus Brattles, Styx versus Ayameru, and then Kane versus 400 CS. Hard to say, but beautiful nonetheless. But I want everyone to be paying attention to the top lane.
It's always the top lane. Your boy Vestion. But what about Byleth? Isn't he like an ex-pro player or current pro player?
Listen.
Hello?
Against Vestion, all find themselves faltering. At least that will be my prediction for this game. Will it come to pass?
Wait, hello, I gotta stop you. The last time every time you have glazed a team member or a team, it has gone terribly. So I need you to glaze the opposing team because you're just gonna curse somebody. Stop cursing people.
The caster's
Leave them alone.
Caster's curse certainly is real. It certainly is a real thing. I want to mention as well, by the way, just a little bit, the fun, interesting lore matchup of Brattles versus Tallywhacker here. If you don't know, Brattles on his wall as we speak is an OPL legacy poster that is 9 years old, which was signed by none other than the man he's facing today, Tallywhacker. That sign is on it, and he has looked up for over 9 years at that poster, and now he's looking at him across in the mid lane. What is he going to pick?
Amazing.
The bans are going to be so important to understand here, but I don't want to ignore Arya in the jungle. I was astounded. I was flabbergasted. I was shell-shocked at Arya's Gwen, and I'm hoping that we can see that Gwen again today. But Aomeru Kane, there's so much I have to keep track of.
There's so much you have to talk about here.
Jin.
Stop it.
It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I love Holy Crusaders, but call me biased. Call me.
I am calling you biased.
I'm absolutely biased. But prove me wrong. HKFC, prove me wrong. I want to see Tallywhacker perform. I know Dextros has that passion. I know Dextros has that fire, and we probably will see that in the jungle today.
We've been seeing so much. Honestly, we've been seeing so much in the jungle. You're talking about everything happening in particular lanes, and there is just so much happening in the jungle, especially early. Vision game going strong, pressure happening on both sides of the team, and of course, it has been decided. Red is the winning side tonight. Yeah, honestly, guys, it must be the Christmas spirit genuinely here. But again, Holy Crusaders, this is definitely a team that I think purely because of scrims in general, I know most about them as well. But yes, I'm super excited for Hello Kitty Fan Club. Great name, great logos. Thank you again, Carveen, for those. But Tallywhacker is definitely a force to be reckoned with. But I have definitely seen Brattles doing his part. Doing my part, you guys all know the meme. So I'm really excited to see what's going on here because those are team captains, I'm pretty sure. Or is it, who are the team captains? Is Tally and Brattles?
So yes, and the thing is with Brattles is I've been sort of paying close attention. He has been helping out this team, educating, coaching, teaching, and to such an insane level that every single one of these players is like a stopwatch, you know, each individual cog ticking away to ensure the time goes correctly. But let's see if this draft goes correctly as we get in right away.
All right, so what do we have here? So, talk me through some of these bans that we're definitely going to be seeing again. Like, we know that
mid lane bans. Mid-lane bans. You're not going to see that Aurora. I don't want to see that bunny. I do not want to see that bunny.
What about Azir?
I don't want to see the Azir, although I don't think it will be banned away. I think, and I might predict this, a Victor ban. And there it is, the bunny.
The bunny. Nobody wants the bunny, okay? Easter is over, Christmas is in, okay? And Aurora does not have a Winter Blessed kid, so she can get out of here. Let's look at him as well.
We only want elves this Christmas, and I'm wondering if we might get a Vex. It would be interesting if we could get a Vex from Brattles. I personally, a champion I truly love Vex, and it would be good to see him pick it up here. And if HKFC pick up a couple Dash champions, we could potentially see that on the side of Holy Crusaders.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Kane's Nort. Now, we did see Asta's Nort putting on a performance, landing every hook. Kane also incredible on these hook champs as Dextros is Lee Sin. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I
We
don't
get
want to see.
that out of here. We've
It's
been
gonna be
talking so much
it's
about
gonna
the
be
jungler.
very strong.
Everyone's going to be taking away those. Everyone's going to be taking each other's picks. But what? So what we've been talking about here all throughout tonight, and what we've been seeing as well, is the jungle pressure, and of course everything happening in the bot lane. Not so much anything going on in the mid lane, but we're hoping with both team captains on either side being in the mid lane, that's where that prioritization is going to be. And we've already seen the Aurora being banned out here, and a Talon too. And a Silas being followed up as that. I do believe that a Silas is a great pick, both in the mid lane and in the jungle. So being banned out as well.
Yeah, the
definitely has
Silas
my
ban
approval.
is interesting. It's Silas ban tells a lot about what Holy Crusaders want, and that gives the sign of maybe Holy Crusaders want some big ults, and we get a big ult. You do not want a Silas with Braddles or Swain ult, and they're not going to get it because Braddles has locked in the Swain mid lane.
Definitely.
I love
And
that pick.
I'm pretty sure as well, like in the last game, the game that unfortunately the Holy Crusaders lost, they didn't want Vestion's Ornn ult to be countered, but they left Mel on. They left Mel with Cryanara at that, who has already been an exceptional player on that champion. So being able to take out that Silas, we already know that they want to be able to make sure that that isn't going to be counterable. Violet, and already. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get this straight. So we've got the Xin Zhao, an Ashe, and a Syndra. What is this team comp? Because we've got Scatter of the Week plus Xin Zhao's ultimate. They just want to be able to split everybody apart and disengage over and over again. But then they've got Styx on the Ashe, and they want him to be locked down. So what is happening here?
Well, I think what we're seeing is an idea from HKFC of, prime targets, who we need to be locking down and who we need to be focusing on. And I think they've located their strongest link on Holy Crusaders is Braddles. I think that's it. And I just want to mention with that Alistair pick, with the Alistair ban, on the other side on HKFC, I believe Holy Crusaders was banning Silas to set up their own. They want Kane on that Alistair because I think they want a bit of peeling for Aomeru to play a champ that can just do what he needs to do and not have to worry about peeling himself there. And you could see as well another peel champ denied with that Rel, also losing out on the engage. We will get Vestion on the Ornn, which I love as a counter pick to HKF's scene team here, as we lose that little bit of a CC buffer you're able to do, the Bellows breath is really going to allow some interesting plays, ability to just like tank the Ashe Arrow, tank the Scatter of the Week, as we get Aomeru on his Varus. And this is what we're talking about, a champion that has a little bit of trouble peeling itself. It doesn't have that movement. That's typically Aomeru's picks here. As we get a Gwen lock-in, that's going to be a hard counter pick to Vestion, as I believe that is a Gwen top on Byleth here, making Vestion's life a living hell. Kane locking in the Leona to finish it off. Two very strong looking comps. Very strong looking comps. Holy Crusaders comp has more synergy in terms of their team fighting prowess. They've got a really nice front line. They have a lot of engaged tools with that Call of the Forge God, with that Solar Eclipse coming in from the Leona. You've got the Chains of Corruption to follow up, and you'll just have that Swain, the Grand Emperor, sitting in that front line. Arya putting out canisters all at the same time. But let's take a look at HKFC's team. What do you think? What are they looking to do here? What's their main team fighting objective here?
Honestly, because like we were talking about before, as I mentioned previously, is that they've got a lot of disengage from Taliwaka and Dextrox on the Xin Zhao here. So as you can see as well, they already had picked those before Holy Crusaders had already decided what type of team comp that they had. But from what I'm seeing here, they want the all-in engage. They want the AoE. They want those long fights. And it already looks as though they had, Hello Kitty Fan Club had already prepared for that from the get-go. So it's really interesting to see that they have actually just locked and loaded, that they want to go for those all-in fights, all while knowing that these picks had already determined that they're going to be able to break those up. And on top of that, Vestion having to go against the Gwen, like you mentioned earlier, being a hard counter at that, we really want to make sure that Vest does end up playing the way that he needs to in order to not get too far behind, but also making sure that Violet doesn't get too far ahead in terms of all his little micro roams too, because we know Gwen can just end up wherever she needs to end up, essentially, and be a bit of a pest. I'm pretty sure you know all about being a pest in those roams.
I'm a fan of the Parasite Pantheon roam myself. But this Gwen will be the linchpin of Team HKFC. There are so many abilities you can dodge with this Hallowed Mist. You can invalidate the Varus, invalidate the Leona. You can get rid of any of the Vession long-range engage, and even Arya's ranged abilities, all gone under that Hallowed Mist. And the same to be said with the Xin Zhao. They're playing this really interesting double dodge comp, I would describe it as, where if you're not right next to them, you're going to have some trouble dealing damage. But that's what Brattles wants, and that's what the Graves wants. You want to be right next to them, so it's going to be a matter of snowballing this early game. At the end of the day, getting to late game is going to be really hard for both comps if one single person gets ahead as we get into the live game right now.
Oh, so exciting. We already have these teams are meeting in the mid lane. But are we going to see some more vision pressure as well from these junglers?
Certainly, I think Dextrox, just an unbelievably good jungler. And into Arya, though, they're really matched here. They truly are really matched. But what I want to take a look at is actually the summoner spells, a good use of cleanse on Aomeru and Styx. You need cleanse 100%. Into that Ashe lane, without a doubt.
Both sides.
Yes,
definitely.
and
Because like, what's the saying? If you're versing an Ashe as an ADC, it's already a definite cleanse pick to take with you. And then for the side of Styx, like, we're looking at the amount of CC for Holy Crusaders. Like, you'd be insane not to bring it, or incredibly trusting on the rest of your team. But of course, we're gonna bring the cleanser. It's cleansers on both, so we need to make sure that we are watching over when these are being burnt, because that just means a free engage on either one of these AD carries, who are incredibly immobile, to say the least.
yeah, it is the battle of the immobile ADCs. The only real change is the TP with on Syndra here and the Ghost on Brattles. Now, I love the confidence from taking Ghost in the mid lane. Brattles knows his limits, he knows his potential, and having this Ghost is him screaming out, I am going to carry team fights if you let me. I'm going to be able to dodge what I need to dodge, stay in the front line, heal up, using that ultimate ability and just being a general menace, as he is well known.
Yeah, because as soon as any one of those members get out of that AoE of his ultimate, like, all of those buffs go down. So he wants to be able to catch up to them and say, no, you are staying here with me. But it's going to be a little bit difficult if he misses out on that route against Styx on this Ashe, because there is so much space gliding potential from him as well. We've seen how these ADCs are able to micromanage their steps and their clicks to be able to move around the map a little bit faster here. So we need to make sure that we're burning those cleansers, landing our skill shots to be able to lock these ADCs down so they can take those wins and take those fights.
Yeah, and I'll say, ignoring the fact that Graves is a very hard champion to play into a heavy CC comp, with so many members of Team HKFC needing to be CC'd. You have to get up this Gwen CC, you have to get this Ashe, you have to get this Syndra. How do they pick their targets as the engage from Leona does go out there and collects and gets Styx down to half health?
Well, we've seen how much
in the bot
we've
lane.
seen how much of those small trades actually cost them in the end as well. But luckily for the side of HKFC, they've got that overall sustainability with 400 CS. Well, like, the Khan, not 450 CS literally, but you know what I mean. The overall sustain from that Q to be able to get that healing off, which is going to be incredibly helpful, because with Aomeru and Kayn being on their particular champions, it's only so often that they're able to go in for those all-in engages, and with no aggressive spells on either side, because they've both opted for the heal, there is no guarantee that they're going to be able to get those fights highly in their favor. So again, it's just a matter of what spells are available from both sides, and if they're able to have a jungler, because it's incredibly important for a jungler, as we've seen in the last 2 games, to get that overall prioritization and pressure for those laners and potentially get them even more gold onto that side.
Yeah,
what are you feeling about for red side here, though?
Well, in terms of this game, we can see while Arya and Dextrox are really formidable opponents to each other here, a little bit more peaceful. A tiny bit more peaceful game. There hasn't really been an invade. We saw Arya collect the scuttle, and while they didn't have prio in the mid lane as the Syndra was top side. He just chose to accept the fact, okay, we'll trade for the bot scuttle. We can give the top scuttle nice and easy. I want to get my back off. I want to get my little pickaxe power spike. And that's kind of that's kind of a more game I'm expecting of, and something I'm used to, as neither team wants to be the first to blow the bullets and go for a bit of a riskier play.
Yeah, well, we've
seen
seen
on forced to TP top.
But we have seen like how these risky plays were able to determine a lot of these decisions for the junglers as well. As we see a little bit of engagement lane. Lots of damage being taken from the side of Holy Crusaders. But you can see the difference between this particular match as opposed to the last two. There was a lot happening in the early stages in terms of vision and the junglers trying to get that overall pressure. Whereas on this completely other side of the spectrum, we've got a nice slow paced out game. So we're going to be seeing a lot of times where the egos aren't actually going to be utilized here, because we're going to be like, okay guys, this is what we need to be able to do. We can't get too confident in these certain situations.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, League is a mental game. And something I just want to point out really
100%.
quick, and something I really love, usually I'm against, is let's talk Varus builds. Now, I am particularly against lethality Varus. I don't like lethality Varus. I don't usually like how it plays. I much prefer on-hit Varus. But in terms of this, as we get a little engaged, the scissors snipping Vestion up in the top lane. Byleth forced to ult, but actually not consuming the kill there.
That's okay. That's
Vestion
really
is at
good.
level 6 left. Yeah, that's not bad for Vestion. The dive is going to be very difficult for Byleth there, only having a Cull and a Dark Seal. And they will go for this dragon for Team Holy Crusaders and early
They do
Drake.
have vision on both sides though, but it looks as though Dextros is going to let them have it. They don't really have the overall pressure, and that's completely fine. It's more of those later objectives where they start to realize what is going to be the...
Oh, as Vestion catches the dash mid-leap, you're going to get the brittle proc from the Bellows Breath. It's close as the 4-stack snip forces Vestion to run away there, but Vestion's not done. He does have
No,
Kill of
he's
the Forge
definitely
God.
done. You
Oh,
can
he
see
gave
that
up there.
he was thinking about it, and then he's like, hold on, ego check, backing away, guys. This is it.
Violet
Okay.
does get the juicy fruits in the river. Something I just really want to go back to is
Yes,
this
go for
Varus
it.
build. I was talking badly about
lethality.
the on-hit, but I
Yep.
love the lethality in this game because you need to blow. You need to blow the very key abilities on the side of HKFC. So a big lethality Varus Ashe, if that ever eats a Hallowed Mist or sort of any key ability, a bit of peel or a dodge from the Rakan, you're gonna get so much prio in these team fights. The moment that Hallowed Mist is down in the late game, that is when Holy Crusaders want to strike as a Call of the Forge God goes out and Vestion misses the recast.
Well, let's think
dear.
about it anyway. Even if he landed, the Hello Mist was up. So potentially he already saw the Hello Mist the mist was up and was just like, there's really no point. And that is me trying to keep the confidence,
good.
guys.
Yeah. Good cover up. Really good cover up.
Because the last few times, but let's
Ooh.
think about it. The last couple of times we've watched Vestion play, we have targeted him again and again with
find
those
themselves.
zooms.
Dextro finds himself caught out here going for these chickens. Brattles has the demonic ascension, the Death's Hands, putting out a lot of damage
Ghost
as
going.
the
Oh,
ult
there it
ends. Brattles flashing in. That Ghost not enough movement speed to catch up to the Syndra, but they will trade 1-for-1. Look at this, by the way. People contesting chickens. It is the downfall of Team Karga. Will it be the downfall of Team HKFC?
I feel like just because they saw the last game as well, they want to be able to go, you know what, we can take chickens too. It has been heavily red-sided and they want to change
They
up the
get
pace here.
a slow-mo on the Ornn. Let's take a look at the recast. Choo-choo, but
Okay,
where is the
never
train
mind.
going? Nowhere.
It's so unfortunate. Vestion, there's only so much I can do to save you here, but that replay, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
I'm really
Moving
glad
on.
we got to look at that. I
We're
needed
moving
to
on.
understand,
Grubs.
the intricacies
being
of that
taken.
play. Dexter collecting 3 grubs here as Arya finds himself bot side, not able to contest. We also have a bit of a roam from the Rakan. It will be
I love a good
contested
roam,
grubs.
honestly. Yes, well, because this is what we want to be able to see. We want to be able to contest those objectives because we're not being able to get a lot of pressure from the side.
Ooh, as Brattles finds himself scattered completely. A solo or a double kill from a 1 kill, of course, with the double of the support and Syndra there. Brattles just moving a little bit far out. The lack of vision.
We've got
himself a
Arya,
little bit
though.
safer than he was as Styx face checks the red buff. Arya forced to dash away. Styx
Oh, what
caught
is
out a
this?
tiny bit. The Chains of Corruption going out. Cleanse immediately landing. as Arya flashes in to collect sticks. Leona is here, the Zenith Blade over the wall. Arya still alive, even with the Ignite. Dextros landing the spear, the feats of warfare going over, the fight's still going. Aomeru putting out a lot of damage on the Varus, but with only a Dirk, it's not going to be enough. Dextros has the healing, the 3 strike, the knock-up onto Aomeru. It's close. Kane just running away. No kill here. Aomeru goes down.
And Brattles is coming in. What can he get? Absolutely
hand,
nothing.
but nothing
You're too
else.
late. You're too late, Brattles. But that's all right. We are able to reclaim our jungle. Something that we haven't been able to see on the side of blue side the entire time of tonight. But HKMZ is hanging in there as they are doing exceptionally well. Look at what we've got at the moment.
Stick slightly out of position there as the majority of the members of Holy Crusaders were ready to keep going, but just that respawn timer on that Jin Zhao, they fought a little bit too long there. The spear sneaking its way out of the bush and catching Arya directly in the chest. Certainly not what you want, and we can take a look. We've got 2 kills on Dextrox now, who, I mean, that's certainly person you don't want the gold on. And then you look at this Syndra, a completed Blackfire torch. The amount of wave clear she's going to have now and the ability to roam into different team fights is definitely going to make an impact.
Oh, 100%. There's so much happening. And something that I want to touch on as well is the CS difference in lane overall. We can see that the amount of pressure that each side is being able to hold against their laners, and the gold too. Let's talk about gold. Hello, we love gold.
Yeah, and we can see that really decent lead on the Syndra there. We've almost got a 1k gold lead. Jungle decently even, you know, while Arya does have that CS lead, those kills just evening it out. Vestion, that's how it really should be. Gwen is such a hard counterpick matchup.
It is rough.
As we get a bit of a contestation on this dragon. It will be second dragon for Holy Crusaders, and it doesn't look like HKFC want to fight it. They're just going to give it.
Yep, that's totally fine. Safety in numbers, and that's what they're making sure.
Chemtech Drank giving that tiny bit of, you know, tenacity is going to be really good for the side of Holy Crusaders. If they potentially could pick up a couple others. But look at the trade. There did seem to be a roam from Vestion there as Gwen picks up an innumerable amount of plates, skyrocketing her gold personally. That Nash's Tooth is definitely going to be on the horizon for her, almost taking the entire tower. And the thing is about that tower taking, feats of warfare are just going to be pretty much freely given over to the side of HKFC, who already got triple kill at the start. Vestion desperately trying to keep it alive. The conductor smashing into the wall, but collecting nothing.
Well, we were talking about it earlier about how we already knew that Vestion's going to have a bit of a rough time with the Ornn Gwen matchup. So I feel like he's got that mentality. He needs to back up his team so that way he's able to do something on the opposite side of the map as well. To try to get
a kill. Dextros catches out Arya there in the jungle, finds himself next to this Ornn face to face. He is not scared as they will trade 1-1, but Byleth is here with the scissors. It looks like Brattles wants to sort of contest against the Syndra, ulting in now, choosing to ghost Death's Hand and catching with the recast, the Demonic Ascension. Braum is providing the damage. Flash auto.
Nice
Bluetooth
there.
auto from Brattles as he picks up the kill.
It's a little bit unfortunate as well because, like, we could see that if Byleth had perhaps stayed, maybe they had a bit of a chance. But Byleth leaving there, it was just a bit of a 1v1. If we get a nice bit of a replay, Vestion gets taken down first on the side of Holy Crusaders. Unfortunately for them, Dextrox was trying to get a little bit of an early pressure for that fight. But again, they still haven't actually lost so much on the side of blue. It's just a little bit of more, we need to focus on the objectives.
Oh, as a top fight goes through, Gwen
taken.
almost getting Arya down. That needlework not enough. With the items complete now, we are getting this Graves. Arya putting out a very decent amount of damage with the Profane, and it's going to be the second item. Power Spike. Dextros will trade, of course. Brattles, Visions of the Empire. We know he's on that Gromp, but what are you going to do?
Absolutely
What are you
nothing.
gonna do?
There's just nothing to do, but we've already been able to take down. This is actually an incredibly close game. Not too much of a deficit on either side. Yes, there's more objectives to the side of Holy Crusaders in terms of dragons, but that being said, there is so much potential as we see that Byleth is still being able to get those items, and Vestion is going to be forced to stay alongside with her too. It's just a matter of how they're going to be able to play out these fights.
Ooh, as we get a grand entrance from onto Kane here, and it's going to be a lot of CC onto him, but that's a tanky Leona, healed up from the Redemption, and you're slightly caught out as Brattles and the Chain of Corruption goes through from Ayameru. Visions of the Empire zoning sticks off. We've caught the Rakan, who's forced to flash away, and that's a lot of summoners. That's a lot of abilities used, and are going to be down by the next couple minutes.
Well, that's
No
not too
kills.
shabby as well, because there are no current objectives that they need to fight over. So it was a great attempt from them to try to catch somebody out and get something over there. But those summoner spells are going to be detrimental if anyone decides to go in for that fight. Take a look at them. There are no defensive spells on the side of these
As
parties.
Brattles looks for the Demonic Ascension had gone through, he's got no Rylai's, which that Rod wants to be. And just with that, it's forced to slow, although Arya is here. All the Visions of the Empire and the auto is enough to collect the Syndra. Gonna be a kill over to Arya as we even out the gold, incredibly so. Only a 300 gold difference, but Dextros is on the ball, trading that Rift Herald away.
This is what we want to see. Something happening on one side of the map and another thing happening over there, because that way the tempo is still ongoing. And that right there, Fido, is how you pick up a Rift Herald. Sorry, I just had to throw that.
Dextros would not forget. And that's how these jungle matchups are supposed to go. It is a game of chess. I move my horse to D4, and you move your bishop to FG, and Dextros moved himself to that Rift Herald as he traded.
Hello, have you ever played chess before?
I've never played chess. I've never even played checkers. I've only played League of Legends, and it's good League that we are seeing today.
Good
and
League.
I want to talk about some good arrows. Ayameru's damage in the past couple of these little fights have been really good, really strong.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually really loving how the lethality Varus is looking. It's looking good. It's doing what it needs to be doing. But we're going to get a bit of contention around this bot river as the Rift Herald is summoned in the bot side. It is going to walk to this bot turret.
More pressure for this dragon because they want to be able to take something back, especially since they haven't gotten a single dragon on their side yet. It's good to see that both teams are actually like posturing around.
They're gonna contest this dragon. The canister forcing them away from that bush as the grand entrance goes through. Brattles eats the absolute ash arrow. The horn is here, but look at Arya in the bot side trading with the CC. And then you have the needlework from the Gwen shredding Vestion completely as Arya and Ayameru survive but are forced to run away. Too much damage, that hallowed mist, leaving so much health on the side of Byleth. As Arya wants to steal it, it's gonna be a contestant, but Dextros does not miss as Arya goes down and a flash coming through onto Ayameru. That 3 knocker
that is so unfortunate. It was good to see that both teams tried to go for that dragon, as well as we get a slight little replay here. We saw that the enchanted arrow was eaten straight away, and it just goes downhill from there. Great engage from the side of HKFC as they were to take everybody down, and then a little bit of greed from Arya. But that seems to be the case when you're trying to get that lead and try to keep pushing for it as well. But again, these micro decisions may lead to your downfall.
Yeah, that team fight. I think a situation which occurred was Brattles is just so squishy, and he's playing so far in the front without that Rylai's complete. He doesn't have what he needs to survive, and you saw him just get blown up there as a 3-man engage onto Kane, forced to Solar Eclipse out, that Zenith Blade being used onto the Rakan, and it does work to get them out. But speaking of that team fight, Styx allowing the perfect execution for an Ashe there. In that backline, applying all that damage and all those slows specifically. No one touched Styx, and no one even attempted to get onto him. And it just allowed for the dream, the powered spike dream of this Ashe. Spelled for a rough team fight. It's not over for Holy Crusaders or HKFC, and there's only about a 4k gold lead all up.
No, and yeah, again, it's still not a huge deficit from between these two teams either, but I want to talk about Styx's enchanted arrow there. Like, that's the problem with Versing and Ashe. Like, they have the ability to engage from afar, and obviously the further, as you guys know, the further away the enchanted arrow is, the longer that stun is applied onto that champion, and of course the slows on top of that too. So it was just a great engage from Styx, and the follow-up from 400 CS on that Rakan with that grand entrance. You could just see that the positioning of the side of Holy Crusaders
Oh, is Vestion misses another Ornn ult. That's very unlucky. Byleth just being allowed to escape there, even though it was a good collapse from Arya. I hope we don't get another slow-mo recap because Arya will find themselves falling due to that little mishap. No Grump collected for you, Arya. Very unfortunate.
And this is just what we were just...
Enchanted
and
arrow going out,
enchanted
catching
arrow.
Kane there. Rattles catching... no, not even recasting. There's no entrance.
Oh,
Kane said it's getting over, but no one is here to follow up. Dextros is here, though. We want to get onto this Aomeru, and they do find it. The Scatter the Weak onto Brattles. The Grand Entrance as well. It's a knock-up for sure. But Brattles is tanky with that Rylai's now, but the pullback not landing. Visions of the Empire missing as well. Both
that was a
sides
very
wanting to
close...
look.
There was a lot of potential on that particular fight, but I feel like it was a good idea for Brattles to decide to flash out anyway, because as soon as he got in there was no way he's going to be able to get back out. So overall, not a terrible play, but you can definitely see the stress, pressure onto Vestian having to deal with Violet on this Gwen again and again. Not one, not two, but I feel like these are all going to be missing again and again. I'm just feeling like because of how much pressure Violet has been and how much of a pest he's been on this Gwen as well, Vestion's going to have a little bit of a rough time trying to compete against that.
We did see in that team fight, however, the power spike of the Rylai's onto Brattles. He was strong enough to hold his own there, even though forced to flash away, as they do want this Adak Khan. All of Team Holy Crusaders is here, but the Enchanted Arrow lands perfectly. The needlework comes through, ripping through Aomeru, ripping through Vestion. The knock-up from Dextros. Kane is caught out, Scattered of the Weak, and the Holy Crusaders are weak. Unfortunately, four going out there. Arya forced to run away. No, Arya wants to fight it and does find the Syndra, who greeted for the solo kill.
Amazing. But this is the pressure that you have when you're versing against an Ashe. As soon as there is vision on you, you are not safe from that enchanted crystal arrow. Look at it being sent out from the back of Blue Buff, and that is just the sign for the rest of HKFC to go, go, go. That is exactly what has happened. That needlework doing so much damage, shredding through absolutely everybody. It doesn't matter if there are rocks on that side of the team, because this is just beats them all.
Really good little capture of that last kill. At least Arya got something for his troubles. But you're right about this Ashe. I mean, what's crazy to me is, let's say you get a good team fight. Let's say you dodge the Enchanted Arrow. You still have to worry about the Scatter the Weak. You still have to worry about the engage from Dextros and the Grand Entrance of the Rakan.
And
there's so much you have to keep track of.
There's just so little space to move out of in that choke.
As they do not want to give this dragon. The Enchanted Arrow going on to Vestion here, forced to flash away. Brattles is in there applying Rylai's, but so is Byleth. Needlework nipping away. The Ornn's down. The Rakan came down as well, as Brattles is desperately trying to run away, but he falls as well. The team fight is so perfect for HKFC. It's an ace without losing a single person. The Riftmaker, the Nashers, all their items performing in harmony. They're barely even getting down to half health on any of them.
Let's have a look. Look at this again. They are just being absolutely shredded. All 5 members being taken down, and we see it in slow motion. We see the exact moment where they realize this is doomed. It's so unfortunate as well, because we had so much pressure from getting those objectives early, and in these team fights, it is just consistently going to the side of HKFC. An amazing enchanted crystal arrow from Styx yet again, giving them a sign to go all in. But these points in which Holy Crusaders are getting like caught out, it needs to stop. We understand.
The thing is, though, it didn't even look that bad. By all accounts, a majority of the CC onto that Ornn. But what spells the doom for Holy Crusaders is the Xin Zhao ult and the Hallowed Mist. With
Yes.
this long range, with this ability to sort of stay at range, completely invalidated by those two, what can you do for Holy Crusaders? Because here's the thing, you need to do damage, so you have to be in range of a Gwen. But who wants to be in range of a 3-item Gwen? You're gonna get shredded. You'll be turned to patchwork with that needlework. And the thing is, okay, that's okay, maybe the Xin Zhao I can go near. He's got a Sundered Sky and a Black Cleaver. Who are you going on to? As Kane is found clueless, looking like, what am I supposed to do here, genuinely?
And that just seems to be like, that's just the other end of the stick, essentially. Like, you want to go for these engages, but after these particular champions have already been set in stone. And
oh, the enchanted arrow landing directly onto Ayameru. You don't have an Edge of Night. You don't have a Spectre's Cow. You got nothing to block it with. Oh, dear.
it's just so... See, this is...
Estion, let's get it. Let's get a solo going on. Kane is here. We've got it. This is the time. Let's take out Brylet. The Grand Entrance coming through. The Solar Flare stunning 3. But it's too tanky. Brylet is barely even half.
I just love how the entire team of HKFC, they are literally just walking together because they know eight strong together, essentially. Not that I'm calling you guys apes, but that's just the quote, you know? And it's just insane that they are just going in again and again.
Oh, these are very intelligent apes as the needlework comes in from Byleth, using the cone to blast away, but Brattles is just going to find himself faltering. There's too much damage. Can Kane get away? Zenith Blade into the 5 of them. That's a good idea. Nope, you find yourself falling as well.
And that is
harder
just so
and harder
upsetting.
for Holy Crusaders to exist.
And that just seems to be the downfall for potentially Holy Crusaders, but they will not give up without a fight as we are hitting the longest game of the night.
Oh,
the enchanted
dang!
arrow hitting
The sniper's precision from sticks. Top of his class in the academy. Oh my god, these enchanted arrows do not miss. Holy.
It's just insane that we're just having to deal with that again and again, and this is why we have that cleanse spell available. But unfortunately, at that particular moment, it was not there. We need to be able to have that vision to avoid these tricky situations, but we also want to be able to get some more gold for Holy Crusaders, and they need to be really careful with where they decide to go, because as we've mentioned and already noticed before, Hello Kitty Fan Club, they are not going anywhere without somebody holding their hand. As we can see them making their way into the red side jungle with all 4 of them, all bunched up together, making sure this entire area is clear. We can have this side. We have reclaimed this as our own. You guys need to back up.
Arya is going to be asking for handouts if this jungle is so well owned by Dexterous and the rest of his team. What can you do? Where can you come online? Where are you going to get the CS as it's a Baron Siege? The mid lane, tier 3 going down. They're going to be looking for this inhib as well. And how can you even engage with the amount of invulnerability this team has? Bastion's ult is useless. The lethality at Barris Q's are completely useless as well. The second, and here it is, Call of the Forge God. But look, Hallowed Mist, he's even in range, but it doesn't do anything. Chains of Corruption going on to Dexterous there, who's in the middle of them all. And Brattles pops the Demonic Ascension, it doesn't matter. You are taken down by that Syndra, and another Ash Arrows lands. Sticks, the sniper of Australia, taking out again. And it's gonna be a game over to HKFC as Dextros dives the fountain to seal the deal for the team winning. Holy Crusaders out of this tournament.
Amazing game. That one lasted 28 minutes. The longest game of the night at that. That was incredible. And then on top of that, it was the blue side favored this time as well. You can see how much like teamwork you could see on both sides. And of course, Hello Kitty Fan Club being able to execute it so much better. It was really unfortunate that we saw, and we wanted to be able to see more of Vesha and be able to get something out of it, having to deal with that Gwen, but she just became a monster. And then on top, and then we also had to see Dextrox just going around the map, being able to take everything despite all of those dragons being taken early. But you could just see that with his companions just surrounding him every single time, he just knew that he was able to take more out of this, being able to take all of these fights. And don't even get me started on Sticks. Hello, well, you already know what I want to say.
Just Sticks, I mean, good lord. Does he miss? Can he miss? But
who knows?
Speaking
I haven't seen it yet.
There was a lot of skill showed on both sides. We can agree to that completely. But where the skill really was outlined was those drafts. The combination of Gwen and Jin Zhao made team fighting for Holy Crusaders impossible. There was so many engaged tools. You know, you had the Solar Flare from the Leona, you had the Chains of Corruption, but nothing could ever land. Nothing could ever hit because it just goes straight through you. It just goes straight through him. And if it did land, it's going on a Rakan. Who cares? And let's say you get lucky. Let's say you get it on the Ashe. Insta cleanse. Styx was on point, not just with arrows, but with kiting and with cleansing. There was just no points to do anything for Holy Crusaders that game. How could they contest anything once they had those items online? I don't have a single point of flame for Vestion because how do you play that? You get counterpicked so strongly with that Gwen. He performed the best he could, but what can you do?
Yeah, and that's what you spoke about earlier. Like, you already knew when Gwen was locked in, Bastion was going to have a hard time. And that's the thing. But as soon as you realize there's going to be a counterpick in the top lane, you know you're going to be weak-sided, and you're hoping that your jungler and the rest of your team are going to be able to compensate for that counterpick. But and we saw that. We saw that in the early game, that there was a lot of dominance from the rest of this team on Holy Crusaders. They were able to get these objectives. They were able to catch out some of the members of HKFC and try to get that lead. But unfortunately, as soon as HKFC came together, especially those choke points, utilizing that, it was just amazing.
Yeah, they utilized that sort of death ball so perfectly. And Dextros, sort of like a shark swimming through the waters, was in Arya's jungle, and he had those little sucker fish, what are they called, Remora, completely left and right. Wherever Dextros was going, the sucker fish were following, and they were taking every single camp that he could get his grubby little hands on. And it worked so brilliantly. The gold advantage and just the sheer presence that he had on the map led Arya to just be out of place at most times. There was that solo near the Gromp, and while they traded a kill onto the Syndra, it just didn't matter most of the time because Dextrous was there, knight to c4, collecting other objectives and other gold on the other side of the map, always trading something. And that was just the slow crawl into winning that game. It was a snowball into a death ball into a win ball. That's how I would describe that game.
Oh yeah, definitely. And unfortunately, with all of the winners, there are the losers, and unfortunately they won't be able to continue through this tournament. But the others will be going into the next round, and I believe the next few matches are going to be later on in the week. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. We've got our Friday matches. Those are the two teams that will be taken out of the tournament, very sadly. But it was such a good performance, and those 3 games today, I mean, absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with how they were. They were so close, so interesting. Quick ones again, though. Very quick ones. We're not getting any 30-minute bangers. We've only seen one Elder Drake in this tournament. But as we get to the best of 3s, we probably will. But I would like to thank you, Viella, for joining me and casting me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for watching. As we will be back, we will absolutely be back on Friday for some more games. But at least for tonight, thank you, everyone. Thank you, support. Thank you, production. Thank you, admin team. And thank you, Ose, for watching some good games. But for now, everyone, sleep well or stay awake well. Either way, good night.